Nanofarts.
Oh God!
No.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Keep. Thank you for joining us on our adventure today. We hope that you enjoy the time that you get to spend with us, that it's a spot of sunshine in your day or a distraction of the crazy that is the world right now. Thank you for tuning in. And the world is really crazy. We continue to remind ourselves to evaluate our actions before we think, to educate ourselves before we make snap decisions, and to remember to always, always love our neighbors. As you can see, we are missing a Jordan today. He should be back with us next week. And I don't think we really have a whole lot of announcements for the day, do we?
Loser's hanging out with his family. You know.
Yeah, family's important.
Like people do.
I know, right? People hang out with families like good human beings. Who does that?
Heyo.
I mean, good human beings.
You're right.
That's fair.
All right. Well, I don't.
I
don't
mean,
think we
it
have
is what it is.
anything.
Nope. Yep.
Okay.
So
Well, let's
that's
go
okay.
ahead and jump into the session for today then.
I will say I do feel
Yeah.
slightly less inspired.
Do what?
I do feel slightly less inspired.
He doesn't inspire anyone really anyway, so.
He's not good at
Let's
that.
spend the next
Aw.
hour ragging on Jordan as a bard.
I mean,
Points
if
called
you can.
inspiration.
It would be great if he had talent.
So, focusing,
Focusing.
coming back, guys. When last we left our heroes, the 11th hour had entered the Sorceress's Tower, guided on the path through the woods by Jazeera, the Gnome Ranger. You ascended through the tower, triumphing over various foes, draconic, infernal, variety of foes. You found a magical doorway sneaking past the dragon's treasure hoard. This doorway was anchored by one of the journals that you have been on the search for. The doorway led to various demiplanes through which a handful of prisoners, including Liren, who you managed to find. After a brief altercation, you rescued all the prisoners, drew them out, including Kino, an old runner who used to travel with Tyrek and Liren way back when.
You know, Reed?
All the prisoners are retrieved,
You know,
and you're trying to figure out how to actually get everybody out when you hear the sound of a woman's scream and the tower begins to shake around you. You grab the journal, breaking the connection to the demiplanes, which are promptly absorbed by the orb containing the private sanctum created by Abenar. And with a light bulb moment, you basically stuff everybody into the orb. Kizator and Val stay on the outside to take the orb to escape after making a brief detour to collect some loot from the Black Dragon's hoard.
Up, guys.
You steal what you can before the sorceress, in the midst of turning into a dragon, comes upon you, spitting and spewing acid, preparing to destroy the interlopers in her lair. Kizator does manage to keep his cool and successfully uses his dimension door to transport the two of you to safety. You make it out through the tunnel, through the forest, and emerge into the village where Rissa and the distraction team awaits. So, while that is happening, inside the orb,
Heyo.
there are a few tense moments. You emerge into the orb and you look around and you are in this dimly lit orrery where there are stars and the sun and moons overhead, and the constellations that you are familiar with are sort of a softly glowing, welcoming light. It is cool and comfortable, and it is very quiet. So you emerge and you guys take some time to rest. Over this rest, about an hour, Doran attuned to the headband that you had found, finding a headband of intellect.
Bridges.
You restored any hit dice that you were going to be using, and we're going ahead and pick up at that point. An hour has passed. You've been in the orb here, and it is sitting quietly. Most of the prisoners have already crashed out asleep. They pretty much, as soon as they sat down, they leaned against a wall. They were not staying awake very long.
Okay, well, I guess if we're here, just going to make sure that they stay restful and sort of keep a watch out for anything that may warrant us. I mean, we know that there's people who live here, but I think if we just stay here and let's not go exploring at all. Let's stay put for however long we will be in here.
See what the other two do.
Okay.
I'm gonna put Nightbane on guard over Liren, and then I'll go stand, making sure no one, specifically a few people who might have beef with her,
Yeah.
are able to get to her.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
also kind of keeping an eye on Mr. Crazy Pants.
if we're in here for a very long time, we'll set up rotating watch between the three of us.
Like,
Make sure also that there's no hostility between any of the people we saved either.
They're crashed. They're sleeping, is what she said.
Yeah.
So am I going to go
Yep.
over and wake people up who are sleeping?
No, I'm just asking a question. Is that in our? Is that
Wake up! What's your name? Hey, nice. I'll wait on that.
Hey, you're traumatized. Tell me your life story.
Wake up!
I'm not Val. I will be considerate to those around me, and I will wait.
Oh, you're not in the habit of murdering children?
Sleeping people, children, putting my friends in danger, all that crap.
I don't remember murdering a child.
Yeah.
So far, we have 2 child murders
So-
both outside of the order.
Death is to come close to you, and people generally don't like the other one. Like, he steals everything.
Yeah, he's not a good bad guy.
He's a terrible good guy, but he's an awful bad guy. So,
I guess he's neutral.
nah,
Okay,
he's just part of
anyway.
the 11th hour.
Yeah. Welcome to the 11th hour. We're not good at anything.
Including goodness, or badness, or even neutrality.
We're really bad at being good, and we're not good at being good either.
And we suck at this neutral crap. So,
moving
Oh,
on.
man, when the chips are down,
we make something happen.
only one of us has died.
Permanently.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh man.
So an hour has passed. Y'all are settling in. You're keeping watch. You've got Nightbane guarding over Liren. Another hour passes, and another,
Hold up.
and you're starting. Yes.
After the next hour, I'm gonna say, do we think that maybe it would be best for a few of us to start getting some shut-eye?
I think that may not be.
The little number for the rest of us.
No, I
I
legit don't
think-
know how long, because I know there's a
I
time
am
difference.
I could use some sleep. Yes, if
I'll
we
take-
want to start running shifts, we'll start that process.
I'll take first watch if y'all want to get some shut-eye for a little bit.
Very good. Very good.
And I don't know how long we'll be in here, but I do know our time did work differently.
Right. This is a very odd place. So why don't we start to sleep? And let us know if anything happens. So we'll do that.
I'm gonna pull out this and start working on it a little bit more.
Okay.
while I watch.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Make a dexterity check.
I honestly forgot you even had that.
Dexterity? That's gonna be a 12.
12. Okay, good deal. You're still working and playing with it. It's the pieces that you've already figured out how to move smoothly in your hands. You're not getting any aha moments or particular clicks or opening up any new areas, but you're increasing your familiarity with it as you work with it. You start over the course of the next several hours resting, keeping watch. Everything stays very quiet until about 6 hours or so after you've been in here. There's a brief increase of light as the moon overhead seems to glow, and there's a small creature that seems to emerge from this light and flies down to you. And it is
Pirate,
difficult
can
to
I
see
attack?
as it's coming through the light. If you want to attack, you can.
No, if it's Kyra. No, go ahead. I'm just watching.
It is not Kyra. As it gets closer, you start to see it is weird. Its body is covered in fur, and as you get close enough to see, it looks almost like a lemur or a small monkey of some kind. And you realize that the wings that are attached to it are brightly colored feathers of red and green and blue and gold. And you realize that the head attached to this almost monkey-like body is almost like a macaw or a very brightly colored parrot. And the way that it's keeping its balance flying through the air is weird. You see a tail whipping around behind it, not quite snake-like, not quite serpentine, but some sort of scorpion-like tail almost. This isn't
JoJo,
together. Right? This is not JoJo, no.
Okay.
No, JoJo is graceful and elegant, and this little creature is not quite slapdash, but almost clunky in some ways. It lands using its little scorpion tail to keep its balance so it doesn't stumble, and then on its little monkey paws starts scurrying over to you where it sits up, and the parrot head opens and a voice emerges. And this is a voice that is relatively familiar to y'all. This is Avenar's voice. And he says that you have no idea of the damage you have done, and that is your only saving grace. Stay here. Do not move. I will be with you when I can. If you leave before I am able to make my visit, do not enter my home uninvited again.
Then
the parrot mouth closes.
Do I get a feeling like this is a threat?
Make an insight check.
Don't worry, this is some great sleep.
One. Nope. I'm tired. I don't understand a thing. I'm like, talking weird bird. I'm guessing this is a shape changer, and Avenar doesn't quite have the things figured out on how to change properly. No, I nat one to that.
Okay. You did get a sense that the voice itself was frustrated at the least, but you're not picking up a whole lot of the nuance or a whole lot of the any of the subtext, really. The little creature, having delivered its message,
Sanctum
takes off again.
The little creature
Flies, well, if not quite. It flies back to the moon and disappears through the whatever entrance it came in by.
So wait, this room we're in, it's like a dome, like room, not an outside.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Not an outside. No, like a big dome.
I'm just making sure I know what's up.
Yeah. You see.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say you see the stars and the moon currently where the time has been set for this orrery, and there are a set of controls set against the wall that you haven't really investigated. Doran, make me an intelligence check.
Isn't Doran asleep?
Is Doran asleep?
I mean, he was taking first watch, so yeah. I said.
So yeah, if you're asleep, then no.
I'll look at it later.
So, essentially, yeah. After that, the quiet resumes.
Can I go look around the room and just see anything? Is there anything here to look at? Anything here that stands out? Anything that I feel like I should be aware of? Because that's something I probably should have checked first, but I trusted my situation.
Make an investigation check.
Modified 20.
Okay. You do find the controls to shift things around, and it's a set of interlocking rings almost, where they're consecutively smaller and smaller, that you guess are probably used to control the date and time of the stars, the sun, the moon overhead. One of the things you do notice, you do not see any doors in particular in the walls here. The room itself seems to be self-contained.
Hmm.
Bloop, bloop.
Cool. I would like to. How many people do we have in here? We got 5 prisoners.
Yeah.
Are they our prisoners now?
So 5.
I don't know what they are. They were prisoners.
We saved.
Lyran is safe.
We have
The others, I don't know.
5 newbies and then us 3 and Nightbane. So.
Um,
And
long as
Jazeera.
Oh yes, Jazeera. So we're
what is
9.
Jazeera doing? Is she sleeping?
She is not sleeping. She is sitting next to Kino, sort of keeping watch.
How's he getting along? Is he all right?
Well, he's moving fine. He seems a little volatile in his emotions, but after what he's experienced, I suppose that's to be expected.
Is he awake right now?
He is asleep.
Very good. Very good. I'll reach in my backpack, and I don't have much, but here's a little bit of food, and I'll hand her some rations if he needs.
Thank you. We'll see how things stand once he awakens. Do we know how long we expect to be in here? It's been several hours already. I would have thought your friends would have gotten us to safety.
I don't know much about this place. I've been once before, and I do remember time works differently in here. So we could be in here, and the time outside, I don't know if it's been long amounts of time or short amounts of time, but I think it's best not to leave this area, as my little bird, scorpion, gangly creature just said. And I don't think it'd be wise to move us to a different location right now. We're in the dark on this one, but I think if we stick it together, we'll be safer. So we'll bunker down here, and we'll wait, and hopefully not too much time has passed in the outside world. But I appreciate your help back there. Thank you for taking care of this one, and I'll have no idea about him or his backstory, but man, he seemed like a mess.
We thought he was dead. He used to travel with Lyran back when she was a runner. I've heard stories of their group and some of the things they accomplished. They were apparently very tightly knit and very competent.
I believe that.
But after everything that happened when Lyran got her scars, it was only Tarek and Lyran that came back, and, well, like I said, we thought them dead. If she, the sorceress, everything that's happened, it's so confusing. Could he have been her prisoner this whole time?
I think that is certainly a possibility. Seeing the work that was done and the place that we came through, the type of magic that was there is not something I'm familiar with, but I imagine with all the oohs and the ahs of magic, yes, it's very possible, though I'd be lying if I told you for certain one way or another. While I'm recalling this, when I listened to... Was I there when Lyran found out that Kinu was alive?
Keenan?
Kino? I believe you were the one who was going to get the other prisoners at that time, right?
So I couldn't remember if I'd come out and Lyran had found out, or if Kasator went out before me.
You know, I do not remember off the top of my head.
As if I was there, and when she said that she thought he was dead, I would have loved to have insight checked that, but I don't recall if I was there. To see if
I don't recall either, but let's say,
we can wait on that. And I'll just
yeah, let's go
role-play
ahead
this
and wait on that for now.
Zero, when Liren talked about Kino, did she ever make any comment that he might be alive?
No, never. I mean, she was debilitated. Tarek carried her away. She spent a very long time recovering. I remember in my early days at the Sanctum assisting her in relearning how to walk and accomplish various tasks and reuse parts of her body that had been scarred. I don't think anybody would have expected any of her group to have made it out without the two of them.
Yeah, it's all rather confusing, but I think I'm gonna go sit down and think for a little while. Make sure you take care of yourself and you get some rest as well. Me and Nightbane, we've got the watch for a little bit if you need. And the other two will be up, so.
I'm not tired quite yet, but soon.
I understand.
And she gives you a nod and just sort of settles herself back down.
I'll go sit down in the corner and pull out my pipe and sit and think for a little bit.
Okay. For the sake of brevity, a long time passes. You take a long rest in shifts. Everybody manages to complete that, and it is quiet, and it is dark, and it is cool, and it is hard to keep track of the time. You know, you have rested, and you feel like it's been almost an overnight period, and it comes to the point where people are waking up in spurts. A lot of the prisoners are awake only for a short period of time, especially if they get any food. They fill their bellies and go back to sleep.
I'm passing out. I should have enough rations to provide for them for at least.
All my food is in the bag, so
I've got food for everybody, so I'll make sure to distribute portions.
all my food, everything I have is in that bag that I gave you.
Another long period pass. The hours start blurring together. This period of time that y'all are in here just seems to drag.
Yay!
You get to the point where you've been awake for what feels like hours and hours. You feel like your body's tired enough to sleep again. And this happens.
During this time when the prisoners are awake, would I be able to get the names of the what was it? Is it a half elf, a human woman, and a dwarven woman? Could I get their? I imagine they're awake long enough for me to pass out food and get their names.
You are. And this is what I get for spilling water on my notes last week.
Hey, make them up.
So give me just a moment.
Larry Curly.
Removafu. That's one name.
Big wedge.
Moriel is the half-elven woman. The dwarven woman. Load, please.
So the half-elven woman's name was what?
Moriel.
Does she have long
The
flowing hair?
dwarven woman.
Oh man.
Am I missing something?
L'Oreal, as in like the shampoo.
L'Oreal.
An M, but that was a good one.
L'Oreal.
Moriel. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally heard L'Oreal.
L'Oreal.
Yeah.
Too.
So M is in Maybelline. Gotcha.
Yes. M as in Maybelline. Sponsor us, please.
Yes. Because
Look at
The
that.
dwarven
Karen's
woman
hair.
is Hana.
Come on.
What?
The dwarven woman is Hana.
Hanukkah.
No
Let's
names
just
are face.
offend all the group.
No names are face.
And the human woman.
And the human man, I believe, was Darden.
I heard Stardust, and I'm pretty sure that's not it.
No, Darden. Darden.
Good
Stardust.
morning, Starshine.
We've been in here a long time.
I would also go around and check on everyone, see if anybody needs any healing, see how they're doing.
He's good at that.
So I will.
will.
No, seriously, yeah, I'll walk
They got
around.
their long rest.
Use lay on hands to fix anything that's needed. Any residing poisons or anything, I can also take care of. So just going around checking on just the general health of everyone and ensuring. I'll play doctor for a little bit, which I never do. So
I probably would go check those controls now that I've been awake to look at them, but without
All right,
touching them.
go ahead and make me
Because I don't
a
want to touch
perception check.
perception. Well, that's wisdom based.
Jordan, don't touch.
Well, that's 11 even, because I got a 0.
11.
Yes.
11.
UC finally worked almost clockwork. Mechanically based, you can see how the gears and the levers are set to control and move and shift various things. You see how you can look and see that is finely wrought and not just utilitarian, but it's decorative and beautifully made.
Functional
with
functional and pretty.
Functional and pretty. Yep. You with a general just look over it, you think you've got an idea of how to shift things and how things would look and move to control and set various dates. You do notice that you can look at the way things were situated in the past and in the future. It is mathematically sound, you think, to be able to calculate the position of the moon and the stars for a wide range of time.
Stars on the ceiling, like one of those space rooms, right?
Kind of,
yeah. I've seen enough time travel movies to know that I don't want to touch it right now. I learned a thing, and that's
There's that 19 intelligence showing through.
Doran is smart. Don't touch.
Smart and wise are two different things, which I have a bad wisdom, so I don't know. So, well, I look at it and I say, cool, that's pretty neat. Anyway.
Okay.
So now,
Cool
yeah,
beans.
'cause I don't.
Another span of hours pass, and you feel like it's time. Your body is telling you, oh, it's time to start sleeping again. And for brevity's sake, unless there's anything else that y'all want to accomplish in here.
I just want to know how big the room is. Period.
10 by 10.
The roof?
The room. I don't
Oh,
remember.
the room it's a dome, so it's a circular room, and it's probably 150 feet across.
Okay.
It is a large room, and it is expansive. You see the constellations and the stars overhead. The room itself is made of stonework, but it's not cold necessarily. It's just comfortably cool.
Okay.
Well insulated.
Okay.
Okay.
I got nothing else.
Anyone else have anything they want to do, or shall we go ahead and jump?
Keep going.
I mean, yes, but no, because I'd like to get through. So
Yeah. So
Do some other things.
That makes sense.
it is hard to keep track of time, but your bodies tell you you've spent a number of hours awake and some hours asleep and some more hours awake and some more asleep and some more awake and some more asleep, and what it feels like would be somewhere in the mid-morning of what might be a third day or so.
Tired of playing to check out with people.
I'm working on this the entire time.
Okay, go ahead and make me one more dexterity check.
That's going to be a 23.
23, very nice. You do feel another piece click into place and open up new patterns of movement and new ways to shift, and you feel it start to warm slightly in your hand. You get the sense that it is, whatever it is probably nearing completion.
Hot dang.
It just peed on him, let's be honest.
Val, you're outside. You've just made it back to the village. It is probably 5 o'clock or so in the afternoon at this point. What are y'all doing? When are you letting these hooligans out?
Literally as soon as we walk in the door, look at Rissa, look at panic in her eyes, I'm sure, as she realizes it's just me and Casador. Find an open spot and cast orb and open the door.
Okay.
And then I'll poke my head in and be like,
if you poke your head in, you are all the way in. There's no half in, half out of this thing.
okay.
So you
I
can
will step
enter.
in, give a slight bow, everybody out.
Okay. So it does feel like mid-morning of the third day, but y'all emerge, and it is late afternoon-ish, only of whatever day, whatever time has passed for how long on the outside. But y'all go ahead and file out.
Did Avatar never show up?
No.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I had a dialogue.
Yeah, did you tell us that he was going to show up?
Yeah, was there a
He said
reason
he was going to show up.
No, that was Jay asking. I was like,
if he was
did
able
I miss
to?
something?
And I relayed that
Yeah.
little dialogue.
Nope. Quiet.
We want to
How long
wait
has
for it.
passed?
Exactly. Laura?
How much time has passed? About 2.5 hours since they went in.
Interesting. Well, we're very well rested. It's been about 2.5
to 3 days.
3 days? We don't really know.
It's been close to 3 at least, it feels like.
And
Side note, do you have something for me?
Nightbane is going to be like walking right beside Lyran the entire time.
It's a little heavier than you may remember.
It always weighs 15 pounds. Hello, friend. I have missed you.
Hello.
You might want
I will take
to.
my bag and just put it back on me.
You might want to take inventory when you get a chance.
I take inventory every night. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I think
it's gonna be a lot.
Get safe first.
Oh, of course. I will do it at first. Please.
Rissa,
Special things in here.
question. How safe are we at the moment?
Well, she sort of looks out the window, looks outside. It's quiet now, but I don't trust that will hold. This close to the tower, it's a bit risky to stay.
Is there still a dragon flying around?
Well, she was going the other way the last time we saw her.
Oh, okay.
We managed to slip out without her tracking us, at least so it seemed. I don't know how long that will last.
Can we leave? Is it possible? Rissa, can we leave? Rissa, can we leave?
Well, it's depending on how we want to go. If we want to go right back to the Sanctum, it's possible.
Anywhere off of this world where there's a giant mad dragon would be good, because we are dangerously close to a tower, and they are searching frantically for people who may have infiltrated or we should leave. We should at least we either need to leave the world or get a further radius away from this.
How
place.
does Rissa look to me?
Rissa is slumped in her chair. There is sweat on her brow. She does not have the excellent posture and the sort of innate dignity that she normally carries herself with. She is not injured, but she looks just exhausted.
Looking around, who all is around us at this point?
Around y'all are the most of the distraction team. You look over, you see Belle, who is laid against the one of the benches, seated upright, but her face is pale. She is drawn, and there is a large bandage wrapped around her chest and abdomen area.
Seeing
Pointing at Solyek's
wounds. Do I see wounds on people?
There is not a one of them that is not wounded. You do not see Alma at all. Alma is just not there. Perrin, it looks like, is unconscious and in bad shape. Belle is only barely conscious. Nubia and Kyron and Zai are upright, functional, not looking great though.
I'm just gonna burn all of it. I have 40 points of lay on hands that I'm going to go around, starting with the worst off, and just spreading that out amongst all of them, and healing whoever I can with all 40 points. So whatever needs to be done to sort of bring anybody on death's door back, fix whatever I need to, I'm going to do that.
Okay. So Perrin, I was gonna say Perrin is the worst off. He was the half-elven. He was the one who had tried to help assist in healing Rissa when y'all had first arrived.
Right.
Sort of sharing his energy that way. And Kyron is the half-elf who is sort of leaning against him, watching over him, wiping his brow with a sort of a damp rag that smells sort of a medicinal herb. He looks up and sees you. He's like, "There's nothing else we can do."
Might be something that I can do. So I will just reach down and put my hand on him, and I guess dump what you think, 15, 20 points just into him.
Whatever you feel is appropriate. You go ahead and you heal him, and he starts to stir. His eyes open up. He's a little bit glassy-eyed, little bit not quite all there mentally, but he sits up and he thanks you, and he sort of starts heaving himself up to go start moving towards Belle and to some of the others. And between the two of y'all, you can get everybody mobile, at least on their feet.
I'll use all 40 points between everybody and make sure that they're all good.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna kneel down next to Rissa. Who's the keeper here? The on-world keeper?
That would be Eladi. You haven't met him yet. And she turns, Eladi. And coming down the stairs is a young, like, pubescent boy, 14, 15 maybe, bright teal hair, like bright, pale skin. Looks human at first glance. And he is dressed with a very serious sort of expression on his face in dark gray robes. He bows formally at you and says, "I'm the keeper here."
Are you currently able to open a gateway back to the Sanctum?
He sort of glances over at Rissa and says, "I can open it, but it takes a toll to maintain it and to pass through if you're not guarded."
I'll open the box and show the journals. Would these make it easier?
Those may help, but are we ready to open it? Are we ready to wake her back up?
At this particular point, I think it'd be safer for everyone, yourself included, if we were to recover back at the Sanctum and make our moves from there. I feel like staying here on this world will only put more of us in danger.
He nods. I do see your argument. I will help open the door for you, but I will stay here. These are my people, and I cannot leave them.
Very well. Do you have a piece of parchment I can write on?
Certainly. One moment. And he goes and he grabs a piece of parchment from behind the sort of check-in station area for you. You get a sense that there's a ledger or a list of names to know what rooms are open and closed. And he goes and he pulls a sheaf of parchment out of there for you.
All right. I'm actually going to write a note really quickly, scribble a note, fold it up, walk into the orb gate, leave that note somewhere where I believe it'll be seen if Avanar ever comes in, and then walk back out and close the gate.
Okay.
Actually, before I close the gate.
Oh, wait, put it on the controls. Because that's like the only thing in the room, so he'll definitely see it.
Okay, fair enough.
Look at that intelligence coming through.
I know, look at that.
It's my dazzled headband of awesome.
How much time passed on the inside?
Oh, close to 3 days, something like we rested a bit. 2 or 3 days.
Do we want to put those who are injured and maybe one of us in there to recover more quickly?
He was not happy.
He
we were
did
there.
not. He was not happy that we were there.
He was very upset we were
He
there.
told us not to come back unless invited. No.
He was. I think we got intruders. Is that what you said? He said. I think you said.
There
He's not
was
happy.
Did he say
great damage
why?
done that we do not understand, and it's the only reason we were left there alone in peace.
Mhm.
I mean, do we really want to piss him off?
Something happened.
What was that, Doran?
I mean, we don't want to piss him off and make an enemy out of him too, do we?
Well, I don't
No.
know if we might have unleashed a dragon inside his homeworld either.
I'm not sure. I know that the orb absorbed those pocket dimensions that were attached to the journal.
I know.
That he may not have been ready for that. I didn't even know that was possible.
I did not either.
Okay, so the note that I left him was just apologizing for our abrupt entrance and exit, letting him know that we had little choice, and telling him how to contact me if he should need to talk, and apologizing. I'll go ahead and close the gate then, stash the orb, and what did you say the teal-haired boy's name was?
Eladi?
I wanted to call him Aladdin. But I'm more afraid of Disney than I enjoy making fun of your character names. So, we'll follow Eladi to wherever we need to go.
Rissa, do you think it would be wise to head on back to the Sanctum? I'm going to be watching the skies also while we're talking.
Okay. Make a perception check. I do not know if it is wise or not. And at this point, Liren sort of steps forward and for the first time starts to really step up. And since you have, while y'all have been in the orb, she's been quiet and reticent during this whole time and not sort of a shadow of the self that y'all knew before. But she steps up now and says, well, I do believe this is my cue. Marissa, I do believe it is time to wake Our Lady up. And Marissa sort of nods and, as you will. We'll see if she'll wake up for you, for anyone.
You
Let's
sure
do
you're
this.
strong enough?
I'll be fine.
Okay.
Shall we?
Night Bane. Stay with her. Y'all in through the cube first. Go. And I'll follow up behind y'all. If we can get this working.
Let's see. Let's do it.
Okay. So Eladi goes, and if I may, he gestures to the journals.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the very first one that we found on the other world that the druids gave us.
Mhm.
And I'll hand the other two over.
Okay. So you go ahead and hand the other two over. And he sits down on the floor and sort of leans back against the stairs and starts scribing runes on the ground around him, and then up onto the wall.
I want to look at that.
Okay. So you are watching. Go ahead and make a perception check. And as he's doing this
Yay.
and creating this circle and this decoration, what's your perception check?
Hey, 16 even.
16. Very nice.
My barber was
Um,
in a song to
you-
inspire him.
Oh, you wouldn't have.
No, we wouldn't have.
I am helping. He totally would have. Open your
Ooh.
eyes and see.
So you're starting to get a feel for the rhythm and the spacing and the how things are starting to fit. The runes themselves are nothing that you're familiar with. It's not anything you've really seen before, although you're making a brief connection to some conjuration, teleportation type magic, like you've seen when Kazator uses his dimension door. There are some of the somatic components that are similar. As Eladi is creating this, basically utilizing the power of the journals in a small ritual to help assist in opening the doorway. Go ahead and have Kazator also make an Arcana check for me.
You got a stat?
No, he hadn't sent them to me.
Doran, you make an Arcana check for me too.
Hey, I have +4.
So I rolled
I think he,
a 14.
I think it's an 18. Because I think he's proficient in Arcana, but has a 0 intelligence.
Okay.
So it would be an 18.
Has he's not
22!
proficiency yet then.
Oh, okay, so it would be a
17.
17. Okay.
22.
So
Do you say
awesome.
22,
So
Doran?
Kazator is
22.
Ooh, doing
I
small
rolled an
boy.
18.
very nice. So Doran, as you're looking at this, you hear this little voice in the back of your head, and it's like describing and naming some of the symbols and the arcane sigils and tying it together, and you're starting to get a sense of the ways that they fit and that they work, and some of the purpose behind some of the symbols. And it's nothing that you've used with your runes before. It's nothing that you've studied, nothing that you really know, but there's this voice in the back of your head, and somehow it's starting to make sense. Kazator's looking at it and he's studying it, and he sees, okay, yeah, some of the conjuration here. Oh, there's a warding part here that's designed more to connect with the School of Abjuration and protection arts. And as the ritual is brought to completion about a minute later, the journals glow, and where Eladi had been marking out a doorway, basically drawing it with this chalk on the wall, sort of under the stairs, a doorway actually forms. There's a new lintel, there's a new door jamb, and the knob is finely worked brass, and there's the symbol of the Sanctum emblazoned on the wood that the doorway is made of. But it's different. It is not the symbol that y'all are familiar with, where before you had seen this tree and this mighty, almost oak, fully leafed out and strong. You still see the tree, and you still see the main body of it, but where before it had been lush and healthy, now it's almost like a tree in winter when all the leaves are bare, and the small branches are almost like fingers reaching out and curling with an almost sinister edge. But the door is created. You can see Eladi panting. Rissa and Liren step forward. Liren opens the door, and you can see her sort of brace herself for a moment. And then she gestures for everybody to step through.
And we'll follow.
Yep, here we go.
Quick thing. I had it confused. I thought Eladi was the one who had the orb sanctum. So who that?
Avanar.
Eladi is the keeper. Avanar has the sanctum.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Welcome. The little sanctum seed, I should say, the little pocket orb. He's in there.
I'm sitting there spinning it on my finger.
Hmm.
Kidding. I would not do that.
What do you think, Avatar? What do you think?
Dude, the
Alright,
whole
y'all emerge
Globetrotters.
into. Y'all emerge into the small stone room that you had entered previously, and it is dark, and it is musty, and it is eerie. As you enter in, and everybody else comes in with you, all of these runners and the keepers from other worlds, it's almost as though sound is muffled. There's still this scent of musty decay and rot, and it's weird, Val, for you especially, because you know that this is supposed to be a vibrant place, sort of filled with life, and you know when you're at a mall and it's almost closing time and it is quiet and there's nobody there, it's basically abandoned, but you get the sense like there should be motion out of the corner of your eye, and you turn but there's nothing there, and you're feeling that like this is wrong. This is eerie and dark, and this is not what home should be.
Does Liren look like she is handling the homecoming well, or does she look like she's struggling?
Liren is shoulders back, chin up, eyes facing forward, and just sort of scanning the room and not really moving.
I'll walk up next to her. This doesn't feel like home anymore. Shall we fix that?
She's hurting, Val. She's been so wounded.
I'm gonna kneel down and put my hand on the floor and see if I can sense any life left.
Make a wisdom check.
Ooh, I like those. Ooh, 18 plus 5, 23.
Very nice. You put your hand down on the floor, and there's a brief moment of freezing cold, like so cold it almost burns. And you start trying to feel. You reach out. You feel Tana almost moving with you, supplying you the energy to try and sense what's happening. And you don't get any strong connection. This is still very new, but you get the sense of pain and sorrow, and it's so clear, crystal clear. For a moment you can almost hear something crying.
I'm just going to try and send reassurance, and basically the words is, "We're coming." And then I'll reach up to Liren and just start walking with her, let her take my arm and let her tell me where to go.
It's hard to hug a place.
I know, right? Just like lay on the floor.
Yeah, man, you took that out of my brain.
I didn't fall. The floor needed a hug.
You hand out you hold out your arm, and it takes you by surprise a little bit because Liren fumbles for you, and then she leans a little closer and she says quietly, "I'm afraid you shall have to guide me, Val. Is there a door?"
Is there?
There is not that you see.
All right. I don't see a door. 1 second. And I'll walk to the wall and put my hand on the wall and see if I can convince the Sanctum to create a door to the nerve center.
You put your actually make a wisdom check for me. Make another one. While Val is doing this and working with Liren, what are the rest of y'all doing?
Watching.
When he takes
Okay.
over, I'll call Nightbane away. And I'll have Nightbane come stand beside
Okay.
me.
That was a 21, by the way.
Nightbane. Awesome. Nightbane comes to you, but his tentacles are held low to his back. There is tension in him. He's a little stressed right now. All of his body language is telling you he's uncomfortable. 21, you put your hand out, and there's a brief moment of receptiveness and listening almost. And then as soon as you ask for the nerve center, there is a sharp jolt of electricity that passes to your hand. You kind of pull back really fast.
Do we have the journals? I grabbed the 2 journals and brought them in with me if no one else grabbed them from what's his face.
Eladi.
Thank you.
Val, go ahead and take 2 points of lightning damage. And yes, you do. Halberd, you do grab the journals and they do come through with you.
It wasn't the scriptorium. Where was the room that had the journals present?
Oh,
Was that actually called the library? Or
Let me remember, because that was on my other notebook that
I
got
know.
lost
I was
in
going to say,
translation.
it's on the other
I think
notebook.
it was the library itself.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It was the library.
I'm going to take the books, look around, set the books down, like have a hold of them, put them on the ground so the Sanctum can feel them, and be like, "Did you take us to the library?"
Make a when you're saying this out loud,
Mhm.
make a persuasion check.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Right. You
So
set the
total
books. You set the books on the ground, and as you speak out, your words, for the first time, it seems like sound travels clearly. And after having everything be muffled for so long, it's almost as though they echo through the room. There is a groaning, grinding, shifting earth sound as part of the wall just falls to pieces, and you can see a small alcove with a bare bookshelf falling to pieces almost, where the wood is rough hewn and not level. It's not it's dark and it's dank and moist. But you see that there's a little shelf and one small podium.
Oh, well, that works.
Gonna walk forward. Lyran, with your permission, I'd like to put these back. Sometimes, at least my own struggles, when you encounter a great wound, sometimes you have to go back and remember where you came from and who you actually are. And I wonder if that's what the Sanctum needs.
I do think that would be helpful. Please. And she gestures, and you can see she gestures in sort of the right direction, but not exactly. And it throws you for a little bit because you remember, even though she's blind, she was so sure of herself and her movements. And she seems just a little bit off here.
I'll walk forward to the podium, open the books and set them down on the podium, just put my hand on it and say, take some time to remember. We'll bring some more back for you. And I'll just walk away and I've said my piece.
You set them on the podium and you say your piece and make a perception check for me.
I'm on 30.
Nice. Whew. Okay. You feel a slight warming to the air. There's no breeze, there's no movement, but there is a warming to the air where the chill just fades slightly, and the scent of rot and must starts to fade.
I don't know what else I can do for it, mate.
Then is there a step to this, or is there something particular we need to do?
Healing is very rarely linear, if you'll remember. This, I think, needs time. I will stay here and see if I can commune with Our Lady. See if there's anything we can do to assist. As little as possible until she's recovered some. I think if most of us could go to a world and stay there until she can sustain us, that will probably be safer.
Agree.
Rissa, I'll look over at Rissa. I know you're tired, but after we've had a chance to recover, will you be able to take us back to the cave we were discussing before we left?
Well, I'll be quite honest, I could use a chance to rest myself.
Yes, we are waiting until you get a good night's sleep.
I'd appreciate that. We could open to your world. And she nods at Solyax. If you're all right with staying with Madame Rillian overnight, I think that would benefit us all. And head out in the morning?
I would be happy with it. The brother. We won't stay here on this sanctum. We will leave and stay with the keeper on my world, and then once Rissa has rested, she can take us immediately from Madame Rillian's to the cave.
I think that'll be a great idea.
Rissa, do you think perhaps you would be able to stay with after you have aided us? Do you think you would be able to stay with there and then aid the sanctum then? I mean this as no insult, but I've noticed that Lyran may need some assistance in traversing the sanctum, and perhaps her not being alone here would be nice.
Just safety alone.
Safety alone.
I do think that would probably be wise. The damage done here is extensive, and I'll do what I can to help Lyran and pull Our Lady back together.
Well, what do we need to leave so that we can aid the Sanctum in recovering.
How does Kino look like he's handling this?
That's a wonderful
Uh,
question.
Kino has. You've noticed several times there have been sort of stiff and jerky motions, and Jazira has been basically sitting on him, babysitting him, watching him, keeping him corralled to the best of her ability, keeping him, and in some cases, bodily interposing herself between him and Laren. He's not. He came in and there's sort of been this look of shock over his face, like, what the hell? What is going on? But there's a discomfort in the whole time. And after Soliex, you and Halbert and Doran would have noted this, after a very brief attempt to sort of get around Jazira when y'all were in the orb, he's basically ignored Liren. Just not looked at her, not talked to her, not talked about her. Basically done everything he can to ignore her presence.
Looks good to everybody except for Liren. Out of the Sanctum. We'll put them back on my world and leave, and then until the Sanctum can hold more life, it would be my suggestion that the only person to travel between would be Rissa when she is ready.
I don't know. Would that be wise, or would it be good to have a couple of people here who Liren trusts and who can help protect in case
I think
something
it's more
happens?
the Sanctum itself can't support more people.
Liren, which do you think?
For now, I will stay and perhaps Rissa to aid me, and we will summon others as needed. Thank you all for your assistance. Truly. Have we heard from Tyrek? Do we have any sign of him?
I was able to contact him once. He seemed conscious, he seemed well, but he was being held by someone, we're not entirely sure. He seemed like he wanted us to focus on rescuing you rather than himself. But we had to get the journals in order to open the portal to begin with.
Of course he would.
So we do know, as last I spoke to him, which would have been, oh God, where were we? That long. Like 2 months?
That wasn't
2 months, give or take.
What time is it?
I mean, comparatively to the 6 months that,
True, but
so it would have been about that. So as of then, he was still alive.
I almost hate to ask this, but is there, as we continue to hunt for the books to aid the Sanctum, is there anything left in the ruins here that we might, health potion even, anything that might help us?
I say because we'll be in a town, I say we take some time to actually look there. I don't think that this is the place or the time right now.
Good call. I had not thought that we would be in a town. I'd forgotten that.
I had as well, my friend.
Good call. Then we will leave any assistance that Sanctum has. We will leave it to those. Then we should.
Frankly, is there anything that you need that we can leave with you?
Honestly, if we could find Tyrek, he would be of great aid. He is, well, Our Lady has favored him with great healing abilities, and that would be helpful.
You referenced your lady a couple times. You referenced the Sanctum as your lady. Then you've also referenced Istis as your lady. Are they both, or is it one and the same for you?
Oh no, not one and the same. They are quite different. But they are both, well, they're both mine, I suppose. Or rather, I would say I am theirs.
It's a sentiment that I
They each have a
understand.
claim on me.
It's a sentiment that I understand, and I know I'm not the only one in this group that understands this. So, it's just a point of curiosity, but we should find a door.
Rissa, are you able to open a portal back, or is that something you will need aid with?
Well, let's give it a shot, shall we? She goes over to the wall, and there's a brief moment of focus, and you can see little sparks of static electricity, but not as vicious as what had gotten you, Val, and not as prolific as what you had sensed when passing through to get to the previous world. But it's enough to sort of stiffen Rissa's shoulders, and Belle comes over and starts holding her hand, the one that's not against the wall, and puts her own hand against the wall and sort of mutters under her breath, "Well, you don't have to do it all. Let me help." And between the two of them, the door forms, and it's a slower process than what you'd seen before. It's not as quick. It's not instantaneous. It's not a blink and you miss it. It's almost dizzying, seeing stone shift and move and melt into wood almost, and it's a blur, sort of hazy until suddenly it is there. And the door is open, and they take their hand off the wall, and well, let's go. Marissa opens it and gestures for you to head through.
I'll kind of motion, I'll bring up the rear, and then I guess we'll go through.
We'll go back, and we're now back on in the brothel, right?
You are at the Dreamer's Pool, yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember the name of it.
Val.
I just pat the wall.
Val.
Yeah.
As you head out, Belle grabs your hand real quick, gestures for you to lean down, and stands up on her tiptoes so she can sort of whisper in your ear. Says, "You keep Rissa with you at least overnight, and if you can make her rest for a couple of days, even better. Perrin and I will handle sending everybody else home."
Will do. I'll do my best to let her rest, but the longer that we leave those journals unattended, the more damage they're doing to that world. So we'll do what we can.
2 days.
Not just that one. We need to get all of them, or as many as we can.
How many? So the last I had heard from Rissa, 5 had been found, and obviously now we've found the 6th. So it seems like we're halfway there. Have any others been found since I spoke with them?
She sort of raises an eyebrow. Halfway? No, we're maybe a third, quarter to a third of the way there.
Oh.
We've received word, 4 or 5 days ago. One of our allies had located one of the journals for us. I should be heading to that world to retrieve it shortly. Rescuing Lyran was a little bit more of a priority at that point.
Just a 10. So, okay, I had written down that there were only 12 journals for some reason, and I don't know why I had that written down.
I don't either. There are exactly 32.
Never mind.
Good Lord. Yeah, okay.
We gotta find them all.
All
Don't
right,
worry,
well, we'll check
Good
in.
thing you have allies across the world.
Yeah, we will check in as often as we can. Keep an eye on Liren, she'll try and do, and we both know she'll try and do it all herself.
It'll be good if we can find Tarek.
Agreed. I'll keep
He's the
trying.
one who's going to support her, and it'd be good to have him back.
I'll keep trying to locate Owen from our end. I'm sure everyone else will do the same. And
These generals that they mentioned are concerning. Have you heard anything of them?
well, we've heard rumors. The only thing that we've come across is one known as Reuben.
He's a dick.
Right. He was a white half dragon, and we believe he may be the one known as the Alabaster Ruin. But then again, we just came across an ancient black dragon with powers I didn't even know existed among Dragonkin. So we may be wrong on that one as well.
I don't know if we're wrong. We'd heard tell this sorceress. Black Dragon, you said?
Unfortunately, I think she may have been the cause of Liren's misfortunes.
Oh. This goes back that far. Well, we'd heard tell this sorceress was called the Ebonwrath. I'm afraid I'm beginning to sense a trend.
Sorry, we're trying to find writing things.
Sorcerer's name was Evanrath?
I'm
She'd been
taking
called
that-
the Ebonwrath.
The Evanrath. We're also making a shopping list.
Oh, fair.
The Evanrath.
Lore first, shopping later.
Well, I'm trusting you to get the lore dump and
Like,
take note and
Lloyd.
track it
Shut
down.
up. Lloyd. Spelling of Evanrath.
EBONWRATH.
Wow. Like, that's super clever.
So there might be a connection between these dragons, these generals, and this group known as the Brotherhood, Tiamat herself. It's all very convoluted at the moment, but
I
if
love
we
how this whole
found
time is happening as we're trying to go through that door.
I know. It's like, this is going to be a fast trip, y'all. We're gone.
Yep.
Val's somewhere else. Again.
I was gonna say, once again,
Never just do a thing.
This is like the goodbye, we'll see you, and then you stand at the door talking.
this is the Southern goodbye.
Exactly.
I apologize for interrupting and dragging it out further. Continue.
But if there's an Ebonwrath and an Alabaster Ruin, it might not be too much of a leap of logic to assume that there are other chromatic generals.
That's what I'm afraid of. Keep an eye out, if you will.
Definitely.
And if you do hear anything, let us know. Send word and we'll do what we can.
Before we leave, I run back in. I find Rissa.
Who's standing right next to me.
Perfect. Hello, Rissa. And I pull out the map that I found in the tower that I have written down tower map. And I say, I don't know if this will be useful, but I found this in the area and I forgot to give it to you. Here's that.
Oh,
And also, I pull up
the
the four magic books, and it says how-to magic books. So I pull up the four of them, and I pull those out, and I say, these go to you as well. These are things we found in the tower. I don't know what to do with them.
Hold on to them for just a moment. Let's get through the door and then I'll put them away, shall I?
Perfect.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, Val,
Okay.
we'll send word. but at this point, I think it's best we be going.
I thought it was best we were going a little while back.
You're already through.
Okay.
You're getting hit on by the.
So Val,
So
you
I
head
go back to
out
the
into the Dreamer's Pool, and Rissa follows behind you, and the doorway closes. And y'all are back in the very elaborately furnished front room of the Dreamer's Pool with the brightly colored drapes and cushions. There are a number of well-dressed young gentlemen and ladies who are, looks like they're getting things organized and preparing to entertain later that evening.
Is Rillian around?
Rillian, you do not see right off the top of the bat.
Would there be any of the others that I know could basically looking for somebody who can give us a place to find us a place for at least two of us to crash for the moment, like the immediate moment.
Yeah, Gwen, who is a beautiful redheaded human woman in a bright green dress, very, very elaborately adorned. She is one of the more gregarious, outgoing employees here at the Dreamer's Pool.
I'll walk up, start making my way towards Gwen, and Gwen, is Madame Rillian around?
She's downstairs, I think. Do I need to get her for you? We just got her to take a break a little bit ago.
No, that's all right. We can fill her in later, and I'll walk up to Gwen, just give her a quick kiss on the cheek, and like, a room where a couple of us may find rest sooner rather than later would be much appreciated.
Oh, honey, absolutely. Upstairs, there's one of the spare rooms. We can get it all fixed up for you. We can. There are 2 beds in there right now. We can squeeze a cot in there if 3 of y'all want to rest at a time.
That would be greatly appreciated. At the current moment, I know at least 2 of us need immediate rest.
You face the door and rest.
Right,
Oh.
so they can bring the cot up.
Let's just go throughout the town, so
Yep.
see if we can find
Yeah,
an inn
the rest
for the
will
rest of them.
the rest will find their way out and do some shopping while we're resting.
Oh, absolutely, honey. That is not a problem.
So
So
I'll
she
follow.
leads you downstairs
We'll just
to where the sort of the employee quarters are, where they have their own personal areas, their rooms to rest and recover. There's a small kitchen area. There's a larger lounge area for when they're between clients or off duty. And there are a number of bed chambers that are smaller, less lavishly adorned. They lead you down towards one on the end, tucked away in a little bit of a corner, and it's fairly small and it's fairly plain, but the beds are very comfortable, and there's just enough room to squeeze a small cot in.
All right. As soon as we make sure that they've got the cot, I'll let Rissa and Casator take one the beds, and I'll crash on the cot and pass the bleep out.
Oh, Lauren,
Yes.
how much gold is in this bag?
Oh yeah. we did
Take whatever
that in
you
this
have and add. Do you want just the gold amount, or do you want it split up?
Split up is fine.
Okay. 1,600 copper pieces,
Okay.
2,200 silver pieces,
Okay.
3,700 gold pieces,
Okay.
Yes.
and about 800 platinum.
Who's your favorite cleric? You
Mm.
say it right now. Who's your favorite cleric?
And K-Store is going to be looking over that scroll that he got, just so the rest of us can know without him actually here.
Yes.
Yeah. Jordan did say he wanted
Okay.
to know what was on that scroll, so I will vouch for that.
Good deal.
But
Finally have
put it on
Just
this, text it out to just those watching, so Jordan still doesn't know.
Well, he won't get to see this till Tuesday. So.
Let me pull that up real quick. That is on the actual My Magic Items list.
Real quick to add it all up as pieces.
It's already added.
Okay.
Because I keep it different.
Oh, okay.
I have a different log for everything. So I intentionally keep
Please tell me I'm there when you count that.
This is his dragon coming out.
And I don't trust dragons.
But okay, so that was
But you don't know about it, so
No. You told me about it.
no.
Yeah,
Only person I've told was him.
when I was present.
yeah, his passive perception.
That's fair.
What
Okay.
what I
The
will
spell
do
scroll.
Yes, spell
Do you
scroll.
want me to give that to you now?
Yes.
It is a spell scroll of Otto's Irresistible Dance.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I love this so much.
Lauren, I will go and find someplace, possibly. Actually, you know what? No, we're gonna go find an inn for everybody else. So whoever else we have with us, I don't remember who we have left, but I'm gonna go find an inn for them to stay at.
Right now, it is the 11th hour and Rissa.
Oh, right, because everyone else stayed on the Sanctum to
Yep.
be dropped off in the airport. before.
Belle and Perrin are taking care of transporting them
Right.
to their own
Okay.
worlds.
Then,
Okay, good deal.
I'm going to
Never mind.
see if I can find just a private room.
Easily. Yeah,
Right.
that's not going to be a problem.
Right. So I'm just going to find a private room where I can take inventory of the bag to make sure Val didn't steal anything. And in doing so, I'm going to discover all this extra money. After I make sure Val didn't.
If you're going to be spending the time to count it out and find the exact number, it'll take you a fair amount of time to do.
I'm not going to do like exact numbers. I'm just going to dump it out and start going, oh, this is neat.
This is good.
I will run through my inventory, which I know. I will check it. Val didn't steal anything. I will put it in, and then I will come back out,
I'll be outside looking
Right.
for.
and I'll say, okay,
Directions.
well, hey, so turns out he wasn't joking. We have more money.
To find more money.
I'm not sure exactly how much, but if my calculations are right,
A lot.
every party member should probably get. Every party member can take 500 gold and will still be fine for their own personal funds if they want it.
Are you
It's
serious?
give or take about 12,000 gold pieces worth.
Who's your favorite cleric?
So-
Just say it.
I don't know. I've not met him yet. But
Everyone can take about
About
500 if they wanted to add. So the other two are sleeping. Doran, Albert,
does that mean we get to split theirs between us?
Oi.
I'm totally sarcastic.
would
Yes, I say that.
would you like to increase your own personal funds?
At the moment, let's just go together.
Okay, well, I mean, this is for just your own.
Yeah, probably.
Well, here, here's 500.
I was just gonna say like we'll just hang with
Okay,
you and we'll
okay.
decide this as a group. Let's just.
Well,
move
I mean,
on.
this is. I always do this as the banker. I decide how much the business. Doran, do you want money or no?
Sure, I'll take it.
Here's
Yeah.
500 gold.
Oh man. All the crap I can make now.
Okay, and so
Can I get? Yeah, I'll take it.
you
Why
take
not?
5?
And we'll work on it later.
No.
We'll divide it up.
No,
see
trust
what
me, because we're still. I never divide up the entire amount. I decide what we as a party need, and then the leftovers. I know.
No, you're good. I just don't. I was gonna say more. I don't know if I need to carry all this right now.
Dude, I carry so much gold on myself.
Well,
In very different pouches and tucked around me. It's not just blatant like I have a huge coin purse.
No,
No,
I know.
I bought 28 coin purses for a reason, and it's hide all my money. Okay, so
While he was counting, I was outside getting directions to market and stores. Well, or asking inside, which direction would be best for me to head, madam?
You want to head towards the plaza, and I believe that is northeast from the Dreamer's Pool here in Cedar Grove. You've been here before. I don't remember if Halberd remembers, but this is where you have Abella's and Florian's. This is where you have the ostler, where you bought the horses, Fonsa, the goblin ostler.
I need to go punch him in the face.
Yeah.
So go ahead and add that to yours. Okay, go ahead and mark that off.
Yeah.
But yeah, while I'm sleeping,
Yep.
if you get the chance.
Okay, so let's go do some shopping. Lauren, just so you're aware, this is what we're looking for. So we can just try to, we can speed this through. We're looking for health potions.
Okay.
We're looking for a jeweler's kit. We're looking for about 1,000 gold worth of diamonds, broken up into 1 diamond worth 500 gold, and then diamonds, and then actually, how much do you have? Because you have 600 gold worth of individual diamonds, right?
Correct. At the
Okay.
moment.
So we're essentially looking for 2 500 gold worth of diamonds. Then you can get one of those.
Well, for this guy's on
3, and then you can turn those other 3.
Where?
Get what? 105.
That's why
Week
I'm thinking
administration.
about 500 for raised dead.
You raise that or 1?
No, just 1.
Okay.
Because that'll give me 1 raised dead, 2 revivifies,
5 graders.
and then 5 graders.
Okay, so Lauren, here's what we're doing. Ideally, for diamonds, we're looking for 1 diamond worth 500 gold for raised dead, and then we need 500 gold worth of diamond dust or just diamonds. We're buying a jeweler's kit for greater restoration.
Okay.
And then we're also going to do some weapon and armor shopping.
See what you got.
I don't know. I'm looking for maybe some cool armor, or maybe, I don't know, a dope belt that somebody makes. There's some cool belts out there. I like belts or something.
A belt of half the kind.
Exactly.
You lose 3 feet.
It turns it into a cobalt.
But if I get the luck idea, if I get the luck trait,
Right? No joke.
So that's mainly what we're looking for as far as for the party. Is health potions, a jeweler's kit, and diamonds.
Weapons and armor. I have a bag of 200 gold worth of gems, and I wanted to try starting to make the rune stones. Do I need anything else for that?
If you're working on the rune stones, I am going to need you to roll.
Well, no, I mean, like, I'm not doing it, but like, is there anything, like, do I need any other supply?
If you can find a set of there's specific tools that are used for like gem carving and creating the rune stones. If you can find a set of runesmith tools, that would be useful. Runesmith tools.
Of course they are. Okay, I want to look for that too.
Hey, Lauren.
Okay. Yes.
Before we start our shopping, can we take a break? So some of us can do something real quick.
Let's go ahead and do that. So we will go ahead and take a break. I will look up the prices for the things that y'all want and make sure we are good to go. And we will jump back in here and take care of that here in a minute. So stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna.
Fine.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for being patient, and we'll go ahead and jump right back into the adventure. So, Halberd, Siljex, and Doran. The three of y'all are going out shopping, right? Okay.
Oh my God, shopping.
It's just more like
on the plaza. On the
Put my hand in my
plaza,
charm.
most of what you find can be found in one of two shops. You're either going to want to head to Abella's Magic Emporium or Florian's General Goods. The General Goods are going to have the jeweler's kit and the roomsmith tools and the boots and food rations that y'all want. There are the kits or the tools are 25 gold pieces a piece.
Okay. So I can get one jeweler kit for 25 gold?
One jeweler's kit for 25 gold, and then the roomsmith tools are also 25 gold.
Worth it.
Okay. And then what was that? You said food was also there, right?
Food is also there, and that is 1 silver piece per person per day.
Okay, so we have 5 people, 6 night bane. We have 6 people, 7 people, night bane.
Yep.
So that's 7 per day. We're to round it up to 10. We may find some people. So 10 people per day. So 2 weeks would be 140 silver.
14 gold.
14 gold.
I'm just gonna buy 20 gold's worth. So I have.
I'll take some of that.
Yeah. So that's gonna be. How many food servings?
Just under 3 weeks worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Add another. Just let's make it 3 weeks worth of food service.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll buy.
We can bribe.
We'll say y'all are clearing them out of the vast majority of their rations, their tack bread, their jerky, a lot of the things, the salted meats.
Toilet
that are
paper.
gonna-
I'll take it all.
Oh wow.
Too
But
real.
seriously,
Too
though.
real.
Too soon.
But seriously.
Okay. So we got.
Yeah, we'll say you can go ahead and clear them out for about 20 gold pieces, and we'll say that'll get y'all 3 weeks worth, generously.
I paid rune kit, by the way.
Good deal. So you've got the runesmith tools, the jeweler's kit. The boots are going to be 5 silver pieces.
Are they nice boots?
They're fairly well crafted.
Okay.
Over at Abella's, y'all are going to find the more a wider range of magical goods. The health potions, the healing potions y'all get, there are 4 common and 2 greater available.
Okay.
The 2 greater are 150 gold apiece. The 4 common are 50 gold apiece.
Okay. So that's 200. That's 3. So that's 500 gold.
That's 500 gold. The spellcraft component diamond, there's only one they have that is worth 500 gold pieces.
Okay.
They have about 200 gold worth of diamond dust, but not much more than that. Talking about the...
Even if they have smaller diamonds, they're just like smaller diamonds that we can turn into dust with the jeweler's kit?
They've got probably about another 300 gold worth of small diamonds.
We'll buy those
and then
as well.
that clears out their diamond stash.
We will buy those as well.
Okay.
And then we'll turn those into...
Congratulations. Your economy has been restarted.
Here's money. So that's 1,500 as far for potions and diamonds.
Whew.
Right. Halberd, you
Yeah.
do find a well-crafted bow there. It is not enchanted, but Abella says that if you wanted to pay to enchant it, just to get it up to a +1 longbow, it'll be 500 gold pieces. But if you wanted to add an additional enchantment onto that, that would be possible. He says that he has all of the tools and equipment, the components, to create a fire shot longbow. Another customer had paid for it and left without completing the requirements, and so he's got all this stuff and he's ready to enchant it. He just hasn't. And that'll be 2,400 gold all told if you want that.
Unfortunately.
Doran, while
Hello.
they're thinking, while they're looking and pondering and counting coins, because Soyux 100% is counting out every coin. You are browsing.
I paid him in platinum because that was easier.
Okay,
So I counted
fair
out
enough.
150
Didn't
platinum.
even talk about putting this bulk, packaging it all and taking off the price at all. Just the dragon
Doran
who likes your money
finds
in your hoard.
a crystal that is glowing slightly, that has various runes and sigils carved into it.
Does the crystal look familiar to another crystal I'm familiar with?
Make an intelligence check for me.
I'm good at those now.
Enchanted for fire shot.
Hey, modified 20.
Very nice. Yes, you do recognize that this is the runestone. You don't know exactly which runestone it is. It's not one you've encountered before, but you're pretty confident you could decipher it if you took some time with it.
Well, what does does it have a tag? Does it have instructions? Like, does it have anything on it?
Abella wants 200 gold pieces for it. Willing to sell it to you. It's very shiny.
I will buy the shiny stone. I got a new material.
Lauren.
Yes.
So run me through this, please. If it's a +1 longbow and then I have it enchanted, the total is 24.
Enchanting it with the fire shot longbow does include the +1 enchantment, yes. Plus other abilities that are contained within.
Okay. Pulling off my beautiful leaf longbow. How much do I believe this thing to be worth?
The leaf bow. Let me pull the stats up for that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's buried way back. That's some early days.
I know. Dang it.
I feel you, bro.
There's always a special place in my heart. Like if we kill a beholder, take its treasure, I'm coming back. I'm rebuying my longbow if it's worth anything.
We'll see how much it's worth. If
It's kind of
not-
like that old Papa John's car.
Yeah, so just see how much it's worth.
Yeah.
And if we don't think it's worth it, then we can cover it with party funds. So it's not.
Wait, are you about to sell the good bow?
What?
Are you about to sell your good bow for this other one?
For another good bow?
Is that what's happening?
Potentially.
Okay.
About 500 gold pieces.
I'm a weapon hoarder.
Do I believe that? Is that what he's telling me, or is that what you as the DM are telling me?
That's what I as DM am saying to you. It'd be about 500 gold pieces.
No, dude, keep it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's 55. Keep your bow.
Do I have enough?
Yeah, dude.
So,
Yeah, keep the bow.
so do I have? Let me confer with my money friend real fast.
Go for it.
So how much platinum would that cost?
240.
But if I go ahead and
If you can sell the spyglass, then
yeah. I'll pull out the brass spyglass, the very finely made spyglass,
Okay.
and see what
You
he's.
see Abella's eyes get really big, and Firbolg eyes. So Firbolg, he looks at it and it's like, well, that's some finely crafted material there.
Yes, it is. It's rather finely crafted. You know, and very good times associated with it. So, how much would you take off the price, or how much would you say this is worth?
Well, looking at it, I'd say that's going to be worth about 1,000 gold pieces right there, and I'd be willing to take that as collateral and move that towards the price of the enchantment if you like.
How long would the enchantment take?
Oh, all told, we can get this done. I've got everything here and set to go. About 24 hours.
So
Dude,
if
what's
you
that ticket?
take the spyglass, so we can get it in 24 hours, and then seeing that we've also paid quite a bit, what type of arrows do you have to go along? Would you consider throwing in any type of arrows with this? Because this is a rather massive purchase.
And plus, I have purchased so much from you before. We're obviously quite loyal customers. I mean, I just give you so much for wonderful, fine materials that
You are
have
by
provided
far
me.
the best, and you are the one that we, of course, tell
You
people
are
about.
our favorite.
Well,
We've
certainly,
spoken to our friend about you as well. I don't know if she's actually come by, a rather flamboyant wizard. You would know her if she's come through. I don't know if she's made it down here
Her
yet.
name is Excellence. She says it all the time.
She's rather wry about dropping it.
Wow.
wow.
The pun game is strong.
That one was painful.
Wow.
That's why
Just wow. Certainly I'd be willing to throw in an entire quiver full of arrows for you right here.
yeah.
Entirely free.
What type of arrows? What type of cool arrows do you have, though?
You could probably just regular arrows, but take them.
I'm going to.
Okay. Pulling up my list over here.
Real
Bella would have. Go ahead. Yes.
I was just gonna Val, did Val take Coratana's sword back? He's got that.
Yeah, I've
right?
still got it.
Okay, it's on my sheet and I need to mark that off.
Mhm.
I have a question before we leave. I had a thought. Sorry, continue. No, maybe.
Yes, continuing is going to happen. I do have half a dozen of these here unbreakable arrows. I'd be willing to perhaps not give them to you, but give them to you at half price.
I do have unbreakable arrows.
What do they do?
They don't break. Looking around, Lauren, do I see any types of arrows? Being an archer and having come in contact, different types of fletching things that give away some of the other stuff that he has around. That I'm able to just ask him about.
You can see that there are a number of various types of magical goods, but you're not seeing any particular arrows on display. It seems like Abella is more, you see a lot of clothing and accoutrement, various artifacts, or what you in your learned ways would call wondrous items, but not a whole lot of weapons or armor per se.
All
One
right.
or two here and there, but
Got you. Well, I will take the quiver of arrows and the bow. Do you happen to have anything like I don't know, maybe an acid kit, or I do a lot, and I've worked a lot with different types of poisonous animals and study some of that myself. And I find myself running low. We had an incident where we had to help out a village a little while back. So do you happen to have anything, any type of equipment, or know where I could get equipment to restock some of that supply? Some of the chemicals?
Something of that more mundane nature would probably be available over at Florian's across the way.
Sure.
And so you're wanting what to restock your poisoner's kit?
I'd like to find out what they have and potentially do a little bit of stuff. But yeah, so if he doesn't really have any other arrows outside of the unbreakable arrows, and let's see, 6 of those would 25 a piece would be what, 150, get those for 75.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that's not terrible, but I don't really feel the need to. I've got some, so
We'll just give them the spyglass, we'll give them some money.
yeah.
Pick up a bow in 24 hours before we leave.
Yep.
Because honestly,
With a quiver of arrows.
I could use a little bit of sleep because I've burned all my lay on hand.
Yeah. Yep, of course. With
Okay.
the quiver of regular arrows thrown in, right?
We can
Yep.
do that.
Okay. So the price point for that comes down to how much in gold?
You gave him the spyglass, so he cut 1,000 off. So that's 1,400.
Okay.
The poisoner's kit to build from the ground up, just wholesale, is going to be about 50 gold pieces. They have various herbal kits or supplements that are at 5 gold pieces a piece. So you could restock most of what you used for about 5 gold pieces.
Well, I've got my poisoner's kit. We already restocked that.
Okay.
I'm just looking at a few different things that I might be able to do with that.
Like the easy bake, keep having to buy the refill packs.
Yeah. Is there a glass blower in town?
Yeah, here in Cedar Grove, you'd be able to find one.
Do you need vials?
No,
Okay. Because I got vials.
potentially.
Okay.
What are you wanting to find?
Me?
Mhm.
So I'd like to go and take, because I've got a whole bunch of regular arrows, and like to see if the glass blowers would be able to coat the end of the arrow with a hollow canister that I could pour something into, like acid, and cork and shoot.
Fellow man of
They could probably do that. What are you? How long do you give them, and how much are you willing to pay?
How long would it take, and what does it cost? That's going to be the question, because they're the experts.
Right. We're gonna say probably about. Pull this up here.
Yeah, I was going to ask if I could get 4 to 6 in 24 hours, same time with the bow.
They should be making more missiles, eh?
I mean, you never know what you're going to come in contact with.
Yo.
They'll charge you about 10 gold pieces a piece,
Sweet.
and it'll take probably about 2 hours each. So they could do 4 or 6 for y'all.
I'll take 6, and I'll pick them up tomorrow in about 24 hours.
Okay.
Lauren, while we were in the other shop, the magic shop, did I see anything? I didn't really do much shopping. I was counting money. Did I see anything that I would want? Any cool armor? Any cool random stuff? Something that catch my eye?
You saw the only full set of armor that he had in there was a set of leather armor.
Okay.
Hold up. There wasn't the belt that you have in mind in particular.
You said other luxurious items. Anything?
I was kind of wondering about that too, because I was wondering if there were any like pokey weapons. Because I've got Smashy and Cuddy, but I was wondering if I had pokey in mind.
Right. There was a rope of climbing that was in there. A wind fan. They did have what he called a belt of returning.
So you spend the money out of the belt, and then it leaves at night and comes back to you.
What is this belt? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I actually kind of am too. I'm not
I'm
gonna
curious
lie.
about the belt of returning and the something of climbing.
Rope of climbing.
Yeah.
The belt of returning is a finely crafted dark leather belt with 3 loops, each of them decorated with a shard of a sapphire. 3 one-handed weapons with the thrown property can be attuned to the belt, and when that weapon from the belt is thrown at an object or creature, hit or miss, the weapon will return to the belt at the end of your turn.
Yep.
Oh dang!
Who's gonna buy it?
Not me.
Not Val. Val's asleep.
What's the price point on that, and what does the rope of climbing do?
The belt of returning is 6,000 gold pieces.
Ouch.
The rope of
Doesn't
climbing
have-
is a 60-foot length of silk rope weighing 3 pounds that can hold up to 3,000 pounds. If you hold one end of the rope and use an action to speak the command word, the rope animates. As a bonus action, you can command the other end to move towards a destination you choose. That end moves 10 feet on your turn when you first command it, and 10 feet on each of your turns until reaching its destination, up to the maximum length away, or until you tell it to stop. You can also tell the rope to fasten itself securely to an object, or to unfasten itself, to knot or unknot itself, or to coil itself for carrying. If you
Okay.
tell the rope to knot, you get the idea.
What's the price on that?
1,000 gold pieces.
Okay, and looking at this, do I think I could attach this to my grappling hook?
Probably.
I will buy this rope.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep, I will.
All I picture is this rope doing like the worm in the air.
I will definitely buy this rope,
It's like the little smoke thing on Looney Tunes.
and I will give him 1,000 gold.
Okay.
I love that you don't even barter.
And is so it does the versatile weapon can be used one-handed. Would that work with the belt?
Say that one more time.
If a weapon is versatile, would it work with this crazy belt?
Does it have the thrown property?
I don't think so. So it has to be,
Your lightning borax?
yeah.
No, it would not have the thrown property.
Darn. Oh well. I was curious.
All right.
I need a dwarven.
That's
throw.
fantastic. We did good, guys.
And that
Was-
gets
and there
down
was-
to my
Interesting, Lauren.
Say what?
There was nothing else interesting. Just curious.
I mean, there are a number of interesting things in there, but
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Not that interesting.
Is it worth going over?
I don't think so. Not at this point.
Okay.
I'll
Didn't
go
wanna
through the
waste
list if you'll want me to, but
Hey, Lauren.
Yes.
Could we get texted the list later and kind of do some retroactive shopping for minor things?
for minor things, yeah, I
Okay.
can do that.
Like acid and poison.
That works for me.
Because also, since we're spending 24 hours here, they would have woken up in case Tor wants to go buy something. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds like a
Yeah,
plan.
okay. Then we shall return.
Real fast, Lauren, just to make this fast
Yes.
and to double check it. In the other shop, I can find some poisons, some synthetics for poisons, just things like that, and some acid.
If you can find a number of herbs. If you're wanting a poison in particular, there are a couple of different types. Pull up my list here.
And we can talk about that. I just wanted to ask and make sure that that would still be one of those things we could say that I shopped for.
Hmm.
Cool.
We can do that.
I'll text you. That way we don't have to take up time.
The rope of climbing requires a command word, right?
Yes.
Can I set the command word?
Oh God.
You can.
Perfect.
I can't wait.
Jesus.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, I want to know something.
Mm,
Is there a woodworking kit?
Yes, you can find a woodworking kit. That is going to cost. That's a good question. Where is my page?
Would it be another 25 gold?
Probably. I don't think it's one of the more expensive ones. Yeah, we'll go ahead and say it's 25 gold because
Also,
I'm not seeing it as I scan over.
as we're out in town, can I find a weaponsmith or something?
Ew.
Yeah, you can
You're
find a
busy.
blacksmith.
You are always busy.
Oh,
But the broken heavy crossbow.
Hmm.
Can I find someone and get a price to see how much and how long that would take to? Because you said it's just like the wooden stock on it was what's broken or something like that. It was beyond the capabilities of mending, but it wasn't like completely destroyed.
Right.
Mending
It
was-
needs some specialized knowledge to fix it, but should not be too terribly difficult or take too long. The cost for that would be right here, about 25 gold pieces.
Okay. And can you fix it in 24 hours?
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that.
Okay. Then I will drop that off with him, and we'll pick that up in the morning as well. Oh,
Okay.
we'll
For my
pick up in the morning.
could I have fixed it if I had time?
Say what, Doran?
I was just being silly.
Listen,
I was just
yes,
saying, like, for my own ego, could I have fixed it if I had time?
Yeah.
Yay!
you could have fixed it, but it's more important that you
I got chores.
enchant things.
I got magic to learn how to be do.
All right. Then I will give him the money for that and the broken crossbow. We'll pick that up in the morning. I guess we can head back. About what time of day is it now?
It is probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night.
Okay. Then why don't we go back? We'll have dinner. Those of us who need to sleep for the night can. If you guys just want to take another night sleep because rest, you can never sleep too much. And then perhaps we'll head out in the morning.
Rissa definitely needs to sleep.
Yeah, Rissa probably will pass out for 24 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, probably would wake up long enough to have dinner with you guys
Okay. Then
and kind of go over what we got. All
yeah,
that fun stuff.
I can give you all the
Yep.
monies.
Boosh. I like it. Let's go find dinner.
Right.
Right. You go find dinner. If you want to, the Dreamer's Pool offers you some of the food there, or the very fine inn where you have your private room is also offering a dinner meal.
We want somewhere, because we got plans to discuss and whatnot, so somewhere that's not loud and rowdy.
Someplace with a conference room on the side where we can get our meat to go.
Right, just, you know.
Mhm.
I request.
If you're wanting
minimum
to
of 4 stars.
find, you can find a private table at a nice restaurant, and that'll be about 3 gold pieces a person.
I'm down for a good meal.
Sure, just let's eat good for once.
What?
Yeah.
Let's eat good for once.
Like, we've been eating hardtack and
Yeah, we haven't had an actual decent meal in a while. I'll
vouch. I'll
let's,
go.
let's do that. Let's get a good meal for once. So yeah, we're gonna eat.
All right, so you head to this very nice restaurant, and they bring out a whole roast suckling pig for your table, apple in the mouth, a wide variety of side dishes of different starches with potatoes and pastas and rices and grains and different root vegetables, and they bring out some of the vegetables that are the what this region is known for growing. Some of the most flavorful peppers and ripe tomatoes, and just very
Wine
rich.
that pairs well with all of this.
Hmm?
A wine that pairs well, you know.
Oh, absolutely. So right away. And he goes and he brings out, and it's a white wine that is very light with an almost fruity aftertaste, with just an undercurrent of a sweet nuttiness.
I like this. It's quite.
Some of my rum.
It's quite good. Good.
I'm just curious, just as a fire dragonborn, do you smoke the wine as you drink it?
No,
Or is it always?
No, for some of the harder liqueurs that one might drink. There's the burning aspect that you might get from a harder alcohol. Some of that sometimes you can just go do a sort of a slight fire within the mouth to
At this
ignite
point, I
it.
fill my cup with my rum.
I had that experience.
Well,
I also
being that
can't
I am naturally
breathe
resistant toward
fire.
burning elements, I wouldn't suggest it for you.
I don't think I would either.
This is quite good.
So what you're saying is if I got in a bar fight and threw a whole bunch of like high proof liquor in you could shoot liquor fire all over the room.
If I fill my mouth full of very potent liquor and then breathe, it like doubles the potency of my fire breath.
I thought you were full of hot air already, but
It's a wonderful trick. Oh, by the way, Val, here's a bunch of diamonds. We're in a rich, fancy place. I guess some diamonds. So you have 1 diamond with 500 gold. You have 300 golds worth of little diamonds.
Nice.
You have 200 golds worth of diamond dust,
Nice.
and you have a jeweler's kit.
Holy shoot, this is gonna be fantastic.
So once you add all that, then I will erase it.
Okay, yeah. And we'll work on that.
I'm guessing Marissa is still asleep, or are we trying to take care of her?
Yeah, she's sleeping, or does she want to have dinner?
Imagine-
She was sleeping. If y'all wanted to wake her up and bring her with you,
No,
that is
we'll bring her
entirely
some food.
possible.
We'll bring her food, some nice food, but we're not going to wake her up. She needs sleep, and we're not going to interrupt that.
Yeah, she was crashed out.
One call box, please.
Bag.
Right, yes. All right. This is
Fantasy box.
some good food.
Mhm.
So they obviously the party funds will take care of all of this because Val got us some good funds. But I'm curious.
Can I see that good funds?
Right. And we're all appreciative of the good funds. How were things upon the exit from the bad place, though?
You mean the tower?
Of course, you mean the tower.
Well, I mean it was a tower that put y'all in the orb, and
Everything went off smoothly, though. I know that dragon was very close.
it was very close, and I think we caught a glimpse of her as we were teleporting away. Thankfully, shut up. Thankfully, what's his name? Quesador. How did I forget that?
He's not here at dinner.
Quesador still had the ability to teleport us away.
The magic number is 15.
Well, I mean, I'm not lying as much. Natural 17.
Minus 1.
So 60 still.
I really want to insight check his story, but I guess you just did that. So
What's your passive insight, Halberd?
10 plus whatever.
16.
Really?
Yeah, my oh no, 17.
You're negative charisma. That's funny. I rolled a 10, which means I rolled my passive.
Oh, that's fair.
So he had a 17. So did he pass or did I pass?
No, I technically I have a 16.
Oh.
You get the sense that there's things he's glossing over.
Not lying though.
Should have some more wine.
It's really,
I really encourage it. my
it
friend.
is really quite good.
As Val sits there sipping his water.
Oh, you're not drinking, Val.
Do you not drink?
No, I've drunk
I
before.
believe you drink.
Oh yeah, I remember when we go.
I was
Oh,
gonna say.
right. By the way, this is a nice place where none of that tonight.
Yes.
Hence the water.
Oh, so really, you get aggressive when you drink?
It can happen.
Like I'm learning
Yeah.
so much right
What
now.
you mean the face?
I feel like I'm learning the.
He did punch you in the face. He did punch you in the face.
Then I remember doing it, but you know.
This is
You-
quite interesting.
You've had fun with it. Don't lie.
Oh,
Just, you
no, I
almost got
didn't-
us kicked out of our own living space.
I was just 5 years ago.
Well,
That's fair. No, it's
I'm
It could- it
locked hard on him.
it's
You're a weird one, just like your dad.
you would know more than I would.
That's fair.
No,
And it's a
it
compliment.
was-
You know,
I missed that one.
so that's a compliment more than anything else.
it was a good
That
one.
you're.
He was at Tony's
Saying that-
breakfast.
I was trying to say that it was a compliment what I said about him being weird like his dad, because
Okay.
both weirdo. It was meant to be a compliment. But apparently my character voice, the phone doesn't like.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, it was a closer call than we might have liked, but we were able to make it out. We weren't tracked,
It's a good thing.
so we didn't come across any traps or anything. So that was fortunate.
Well,
I'm a little worried about what Avenel said about the causing damage.
well, the sphere did eat the worlds, and one of those was a dragon. I fully
I
believe we
forgot
unleashed an
about that
ancient
part.
black dragon
Oh,
into the sphere.
That was not okay. That might not have been. Was the male black dragon an ancient as well?
Like, can we tell from his horn length and things like that? Because
Especially the people who study dragon things.
we only saw his head, but
Those of you who study dragons, make me a nature check.
so that includes me.
Do I get advantage on that?
Yeah, go ahead and have
Okay,
advantage.
so guys.
And Celiax does a straight roll.
Natural 20.
Nice.
There you go. Not as good.
So nature is 21.
Okay, good deal. You do get the sense that this was a match for the female in just about every way.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we released that into.
Just
sphere.
hoping that it's still stuck in the pocket dimension. Maybe.
Stuck in its pocket dimension in your dimension in your
Pocket.
pocket.
Yeah.
It's layered,
gonna make my
like
head hurt.
onions.
And Avenor seems
Or ogres.
Ogres are layered.
rather angered at our presence.
Oh, I can imagine.
Hold on.
I mean,
I understand.
Mm-hmm. We did release a dragon in there.
if
We don't
did-
know.
If
Uh,
we did
we
release a
assume.
dragon, I can definitely understand. But even our presence, I mean, he doesn't really like anyone messing around in there.
He doesn't really like people.
Well, I mean, when you're as old as he is and you're trying to accomplish the equivalent of immortality, it's
That's just the question. How old is
To
I,
be fair, he did kick the door into his house and just walked right in, so I can understand him being a wee bit.
if I remember correctly, he was pretty ancient for an elf.
he? Yeah, he's. I remember. I mean, Howard, how old is an old elf?
Well, a very old elf can get himself up to 900.
Ooh, wow. That's a very long
That's
time.
a lot.
That's
So
a very long time.
yeah, and who knows how long he's been isolated by himself in there. And,
He does have the halflings.
there's that,
He does
but
have the halflings.
he kind of seemed like he was separate from them. That
He probably thinks himself better than them.
possibly.
He seems the type that would think himself in a higher position.
That's fair. Like I said, hopefully my letter to him will help ease some of the hostility,
I would,
though
not,
I very much doubt it.
I would not be going back in there without an invitation of some sort.
How would he invite you?
I don't know,
I
but
don't
that's
know.
my point. I think it would be best to leave it be from here on out.
I have a feeling though that's just too convenient of an area for us to be able to use. I'd at least like to go talk to him at one point and
Maybe we not use it again until we at least establish some type of relationship.
with him. Yes.
As in, hey,
Something-
instead of us dying, do you think perhaps we could use one of your rooms?
maybe if he could teach me how to control where it opens and how it works from the outside.
Yes,
I can make
do you
sure-
happen to know where we were at? I know Doran. Doran, do you have any idea what the room was that we were in with your super smartness now?
Lauren, do I? I understood what the controls did, sort of, right? I don't
You
think
understood what the
I
controls did. You understood that it was a room designed to describe or I don't know if you would know the word orrery. I don't think that would quite be in Doran's experience, but you'd be able to describe what it did. How you'd be able to see how the suns and stars move and chart their course.
But from which perspective? I mean, did any of us recognize it? Are we, in all these different worlds we've been on, I've never asked this before, in all these different worlds we've been on, is it the same sky?
As a matter of fact, make a nature check. Anybody can get on this if they want to.
That's a 1.
Anyone who is
That
there?
is a natural 20
20 and 1. 20 and 1. Come on, guys.
for
That's a
nature.
modified 20.
23.
Modified 20.
Okay, so everyone got 20 plus,
Wait, what
but
was
I
it?
got a 1.
A nature check?
Mhm.
Yeah, modified 20.
Yeah, y'all over time you would have noticed this, and especially it makes sense that Celius wouldn't because he spent so long on his world. Of course, the stars are just the stars. That's what they are. But
He
Val
doesn't study
would have
chemistry.
had a lot of experience with this, and Halberd being familiar with the night sky and charting his course, and Doran would have noticed, although he may be just now be making the connection. Yeah, the stars that you have been on have been the same on every world. Val, is one of the things that the Sanctum not necessarily looks for to make worlds more compatible, where the Sanctums can reach between these worlds. But it's one of those things that the night sky, though it may have some different slight differences in when a comet passes by or when a meteor shower is occurring, things that are passing and transient, the stars themselves, the constellations by and large stay fairly similar, mostly trackable.
No, Doran, you might be able to answer this. The stars we saw in that room, were they the same stars that the night sky has, or were they different? I wouldn't know. I don't know things like that, but you seem to be paying more attention than me when it comes to these things.
And yeah, they were the same.
There you go.
Interesting.
Very strange.
So, is it all the same plane between the worlds, but different worlds within, or is this all in the same? Have we actually been traveling across the same world on this note? Has the Sanctum been lying to us about the different worlds we come from?
Lord, would Val be able to explain that? Haven't been around as long as he has?
Probably.
Because I know from within the Sanctum,
You wanna help me out with that?
we looked at within the Sanctum at the core of it, and it showed different worlds. But what if the Sanctum was lying, and they're not different worlds? It's actually all the same world.
Well, maybe it's not so much that it lied as much as we took an orb and assumed a planet.
So,
Versus a
DM,
region.
what would Val be able to explain?
That to the best of Val's knowledge, there are various planes or dimensions, perhaps might be a better word. That this is not actually a universe that y'all live in, that the worlds and the Sanctum resides in, but more of a multiverse. And that the different places y'all go are different sections, different planes of existence, different dimensions within this multiverse.
See, I want to make it a joke about Doran having smoke coming out of his ears, but now that he's got the little circlet, he's good.
It's Soyux with the smoke.
Right.
So instead,
All right,
just
homeschool boy.
I should probably case it toward the smoke. He has the lowest intelligence out of all of us.
does he really?
Yeah, now that you've got the circlet.
Okay, but so the question is it, in my understanding of the planes, knowing where fiends come from, and all my study of the fiendish natures and all of those,
Right.
I understand that we're on a material plane.
Right.
Is it all the same material plane, or the multiple? Is all these different dimensions and different worlds? Is it all on the same, existing on the same material plane, or is it different material planes, and the Sanctum is working as a link between them?
Well,
That's an excellent question.
Does Val know that?
I don't know. That's why I pointed to her.
That is interesting.
Jay, make a case for Val knowing that information.
A 20 wisdom, 16 intelligence, and 2 years with the Sanctum under Liren and Tyrion.
Would you have asked a similar question?
Would you have thought to ask a similar question?
Would you have thought to ask it, though?
I feel like he would have at least wanted to understand how the travel works in case he ever get as a solo runner, might get stuck somewhere he doesn't need to be or needs to get back. So I feel like he would at least ask to understand enough to be able to be like, okay, how do I get the frick out of here?
Just curious.
Okay, this is what Val knows. All right, this is what Val knows. You have been to multiple worlds, multiple dimensions, even with this group now you've traveled. You've only ever heard of one plane of the 9 hells, one Avernus, one Pandemonium, one of the Feywild, one of the Shadowfell.
So the fact that there's only one, it would make sense there's only one material.
Like we're talking about AC convergence.
Well, speaking of planes, for the record, in case anybody is unaware, I will give them a little bit of lore on devilish entities and the hells, and because what we encountered in the Mollyfont, he was a devil, right?
He was a devil.
Right. So I'm going to give a little bit of history, since we're just sitting here talking about planes, about what I know about fiends and especially devils, and the fact that they come from the 9 hells, and exactly the different layers and how that works, and the fact that Tiamat is on Avernus, which is the first layer of the 9 hells, which is ruled over by Zuriel, and sort of start breaking down just some more basic. And ideally, if we ever have to go there, which I never want to go there, we'd only have to go through the first, but you can't get to the other layers unless you actually go through the layers, which is unlike the Abyss, because there's actually infinite layers of the Abyss, and they're all sort of bounced around. You can't really. Anyways,
That's a lot.
My bad. So it's going to be more of Tiamat's on the first layer.
So it's almost an upside down tower as far
Yes,
as floors.
yes, that's how it would work.
It's a basement.
The hells work as an upside down tower. They get infinitely worse as you go.
That's not surprising.
Avernus is the worst.
Hells.
If you ever find a portal to the hells, close it, don't go in it.
Fair.
Didn't even have to.
Lauren,
Yes.
Tiamat in Avernus. Do I know anything important about, as I'm thinking about it now, anything important about command structure or people, like immediate servants of her that we need to keep an eye out for that might, that guy is her right-hand man, or that guy knows Tiamat personally, we should avoid him, anything like that?
Reuben.
Owen, wait.
Most make a history check.
Oh, God.
All the checks.
It's my favorite enemy. Can I have advantage?
No, because you've said multiple times you didn't really pay attention in your
I
classes
did,
as a
'cause
paladin.
Because that's a 6.
Would I be able to fill in anything that he's missing about Tiamat?
Could that be a religion instead of history check? Because it's Tiamat. She's a god.
I will let it be religion
Oh,
instead
that's a
of.
10.
Okay.
So much better.
It really is. Better than-
It's a little bit better. You have heard that there are those who worship Tiamat. The cult of Tiamat is a sort of an eternal enemy of the followers of Bahamut. Right. And there are those who are high up in worshiping her and in controlling this cult and in relating to that. Their names escape you at the moment. You may spend a little bit of time thinking about it and trying to remember, or even prayerfully meditating on it at some point if you really want to try and recall those names. But in the moment, it escapes you.
Do I remember if they are half dragon, dragonborn, true dragon, non-dragon kind? Any of that? Any details in that, or are they just a smattering of all types of races?
The cult itself is a smattering of all types of races. You know that. And you've got a feeling that there are dragonborn that follow her closely and act as her servants. That's all you get with the 10.
Because I know within the Church of Bahamut, it's not just dragonborn. There's a smattering of different races, and so it's also similar within the cult of Tiamat. There are a smattering, as we have encountered. Though most of them seem to have been dragonborn, or there was one true dragon, but we think perhaps that she follows Tiamat. It's quite possible, given everything else we have and the names. This wine is really good. I'm sorry, I've been talking for like the past hour. Oh, how was your infernal coming along?
He drops an F-bomb in Infernal.
Can I respond in Infernal because he spent time and I was spending time with Ryan, Sully's learning that. I respond brokenly in Infernal.
Brokenly. It's rough. It is not very. The grammar is a little wonky. The syntax is not quite how it should be. Doran.
Hey, what's up?
You hear this, and you recognize, oh wait, that's not right. It should be like not like this, but like this.
Oh my gosh.
I would say don't let it go to your head, friend, but I think it already has. All the smarts.
Doran,
Yes.
you now know Infernal. You don't know where exactly you learned this, but you started hearing it, and suddenly your brain's making all of these connections. You're going lightning fast from one to the other, and it's like a world is opening up in your head, understanding the language. And there's you can feel almost little, not quite memories, but you get a sensation, a sense memory of how it's formed in the mouth and where your tongue sits to pronounce certain words. And
In the
you
distance,
can mark Infernal as one of your languages known.
Lauren?
Yes.
Oh my
Can I
goodness.
just run a divine sense?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to see specifically on Dorn in the headband. Looking for fiends.
Okay.
Am I haunted?
You're possessed.
Does anything? I mean, anyone sitting in the restaurant, I'll also pick up.
Let me
Celestial
pull up
fiends,
the exact
undead.
text real quick.
Anybody within 60 feet not defined full cover, I will know the location of any celestials, fiends, or undead. It won't necessarily tell me.
Ian giveth, the paladin taketh away.
I'll also know if the ground has been sanctioned by a hallowed spell, if that's relevant. In the middle of this really nice restaurant.
One never knows in the middle of 4-star restaurant.
This food is divine, yo.
You do sense a faint celestial presence.
That's Casator and Jojo.
Separate from Casator and Jojo.
Where
Oh,
at?
snap.
I know the location.
One of the other diners in this restaurant across the way is a human woman, late 20s, early 30s, maybe.
Is it a similar trigger that I get off of Casator?
Similar, yes.
Is this
Yeah.
common for, sorry.
No, I
Shut
don't.
up.
I don't run it a lot. Sensing this. Well, finish. What do I sense anything else?
You do not sense any fiends.
Okay. Sensing this, I will then nudge Casator and say, "Excuse me, Casator. Hi. I know you've been quiet this whole time because you've been eating like a pig. It's okay. By the way, your waistline. May want to look into that." But,
Canon now. It's canon.
Let's get it.
100%. There, Casator is getting fat. That's canon because he's old. His metabolism slowed way down when he got older. He keeps eating like he's young.
I don't know. After all that running from the dragon.
He teleports everywhere. There's
Oh,
there's a woman who I did a thing. I figured out there's a woman over there who seems celestial-ish like you do. Could you turn and look at her and let us know if that is in fact your sister or any one of your relation? Because I'm just saying that would be weird, but also super convenient.
I was like,
Casator will say he goes ahead and he looks over. He does not recognize the woman. She is not familiar to him.
Well, figured I'd let you know. By the way, there's a woman over there if you want to, we're here for a night. I don't know things, but just, Rissa's asleep in the other place, so I'm,
There's a lot of things you just
this wine is really good. This wine
Wow.
is really good.
The wine is very good.
I just heard Jordan's head explode.
I'm just gonna make this clear before we get into this. I've only had one glass and I'm stopping at one.
Okay.
I don't want this con save that I've always failed.
Hey, you're too close to me. You'll be okay.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
I forgot about
how
that.
are you fared?
I
Okay.
mean,
nice.
I'm a lightweight.
Some of my rum, so.
All right. Well,
So tomorrow, after we pick up ordered items, are we resting one more day, or are we gonna get Rissa to try and take us to the cave?
Lord,
Hmm?
it was one day that we left and went to the tower and went through the
Right.
tower. That was one day, right?
Right.
And then it's a second day now,
Right.
and Rissa has been
this is
sleeping.
this is the night of the first day. We left for the tower in the morning.
No,
Wait,
because they woke up. This is in the second day now.
No, this is they slept in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
This is 8 o'clock at night on the first day. This is
I
still
think
day
it's probably
one.
getting close to like 10 o'clock on the
But-
first
but
day
she
now.
said
But
that
yeah,
we-
this is the same day.
Got to the Sanctum at 5 p.m.
Right, but we didn't stay at the Sanctum.
No, we didn't. So it's not 8 at night because we got here later. If you took a full long rest, it had to be 8 hours.
He didn't take a full long rest. It was interrupted.
Mine was interrupted.
Yeah, you haven't had a chance for a
'cause-
full rest
'cause
yet.
I said I would wake up long enough to have dinner with you and then go
Oh,
for a
okay,
long
okay.
rest.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is
Got
still
you.
this is still day
good
one.
deal. That's what
Yeah,
was throwing me.
like-
Is
yeah,
like,
no,
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 this
no,
is
yeah.
like
Sorry, I forgot about that part. Thank
Yeah,
you.
us
we
were-
would still be
got
a day
rest.
into travel.
so
That
Val's
was-
not leveled up yet.
No, Val's still level 8 with 2 spell slots left.
Yeah, so if we leave,
No,
if
it's
we
not
teleport in the
about that.
morning to the cave, we'll have shaved 2 days off.
Yeah, I just don't know if it would be worth then, because it's a 3-day journey. Letting Rissa rest one more
Well,
day.
and remember, we did our shopping in the evening, so regardless, we have to wait evening because there were some things that took 24 hours.
Mhm.
So,
Let
Well,
Rissa sleep the
Then,
day
yeah,
away.
so we'll spend one more day here, and then on the morning of the third day, we will teleport to the cave.
That gives me time to work on the
Good
magic
idea.
boot.
Question
Let's do that.
for
Yeah.
Jordan, because he's not here, and I have a feeling he would have asked this when he looked at the lady. He might not have recognized her, but would there have been any symbol or logo or Veritas-like sign or anything like that, or connection that he would have seen? Because I'm pretty sure he would have looked at that.
yeah, that's a good point.
That is fair. Do we have his
He still never sent
Hold on.
it.
Hold on.
You can text him again.
No, I'm gonna look.
He sent a very old one.
That's what I'm gonna look at.
It's okay. We just need to know if he's proficient in perception.
This is true.
And that'll be on his old one anyway.
You're right.
Because I think he is, but I don't remember for sure.
I don't have it in the group chat.
This was the old group chat. That's what we switched group chats since he sent it.
Hmm.
Well, here, I'll make a roll and then we'll figure out.
You want to? I think you could have been rolling.
That is a good idea.
You will.
Not good.
Should have gone with me. I rolled a 14.
He rolled a natural 2.
So even if he had maxed everything, it'd probably be maybe a 10. Like if you put expertise in perception, his wisdom I think is only a +2. You're looking at a 10.
Okay. So no, he didn't recognize anything in particular.
Okay. Well,
So, do we want to call it an evening? I'd like to check on Rissa before heading to bed myself.
I think we can. Let's call it evening. We'll spend another day here. Perhaps we can maybe be able to do some more stuff, see what's going on, and then we'll spend another day and then go from there.
Hey, perfect.
Okay.
Lauren, what's the total cost of dinner?
15 gold pieces.
Okay. I'm going to leave 20 for a nice tip because nice place. I assume, do they tip on my world?
That's an assumption. Is this American or is this European?
That's what I'm saying. Do they tip on my world or not? I would know this.
You would know this. You know it is generally polite to provide some sort of bonus for good service.
Okay, then I will leave 20 gold. Actually, I'm leaving 2 platinum.
Oh,
We're
snap.
fancy now.
All the fancy.
And we also have more platinum than gold in money wise.
So ridiculous.
So I will leave 2 platinum.
Oh, before we leave, seeing you put down the platinum, how did we make out on the?
Oh, quite well. Do you want 500 gold?
Yes, I would love 500 gold.
Here's 500 gold. And when in case the tourist stops eating, we'll see if he wants 500 gold or not.
I'm feeling rather generous. I don't think I need it at all.
Oh, you're very good, Chase Story. Chase Story, want to give me your 500 gold? That's wonderful of you.
All right,
Chase Story.
odds are even. Call it.
Odds.
You got it.
Ah! Thank you, Casey Story. You're so kind. Oh, you want to also give me your cloak of protection? Thank you so much.
Odds are even.
Odds.
No.
Ah, dang it.
All right, so y'all finish your meal. A dessert is brought out. It is a delicacy of exotic fruits with a very lightly sweetened cream sauce. Who all was drinking more heavily?
We were conversing, but I guess I was just drinking casually. I'll let you make the
that's
call.
fine.
I had a cup of drink.
I had a constitution
Well, if
saving
that's
throw
all
of
y'all had.
21, in case that matters.
You're drunk, wasted.
We'll
I
say you'll
remember-
make it fine. You're not impaired.
I rolled a 10.
Shut up.
I love my constitution saving throw now. It's
Shut up.
amazing.
Right.
Wow.
So I take it our brief stop in the hoard room was well worth the extra few seconds
You mean days?
No, in the horde room.
in the hoard room.
I
know.
We were literally only in there.
I know. For a few seconds for you.
A few hours. But yes, whatever you did while there was beneficial for the group. We did fairly well as far as monetary wise. So
I'm glad that it worked out.
it is because of that Howard's able to purchase a new bow.
Come on, you look like you're not happy. Or is that John coming through?
Halbert's happy about the bow. He's happy we got the money. But there's definitely some underlying apprehension.
Would I, with my passive insight of 19, pick that up?
Probably, yeah.
How would you
I'd say
look?
that's a safe bet.
How would you look like you have something on your mind?
What exactly was that in the prisoner's chamber?
You'll have to be more specific.
The entire, oh no, we're staying here. No concern about what might come through those doors because I just can't stand to leave this behind, even though we got the prize type of bull crap. And I understand I'm all for rescuing people when they need to be rescued. But what was that about?
We had a chance, a very rare chance, one that quite possibly would have disappeared with our exit, to rescue those who have been imprisoned by the same sorceress, the whatever she was, that had held Liren and a member of her team. We were going to take the book anyway, I assume. We were not going to leave that there. There's no reason not to, especially at that moment, take the opportunity to rescue as many people as we could. And I know this concept may be a little difficult for those who have never had their freedom stripped away, but
Don't you ever talk to me about people having their freedoms stripped away again.
you had yours personally, or have you only watched from the sidelines?
I've had everything stripped away.
There's a difference between having everything taken away and living in that captivity. It's
Captivity
not
where
the
you have
same.
to watch every move that you make, and your decisions could bring about your death, where you don't have the choice to say the things and do the things that you want to do, where you might be beaten or you are beaten, and you've been bloodied and you've been battered as you work yourself through this position. That type of...
Yes, those could be those situations.
I have no idea
or
what you're talking
or
about.
possibly living through the psychological terror of that same nightmare for days, weeks, months, years, decades, and having to relive that moment over and over, and knowing that there is no escape. Now, you can say that we revisit those memories, and that is true. But to have those memories forced on you, that was not a situation that I was willing to leave others in. And I cannot believe that anyone would be willing to leave, especially one who has experienced that, would be willing to leave anyone in that situation.
You are making a lot of assumptions into the situation. What you know for sure in that moment was that Liren was a prisoner, and you assumed onto everybody else.
I assume
Valid
that's
assumption? Potentially, yes. I'm not arguing that.
Yes.
Potentially reckless? Very reckless? But it worked out for your benefit this round? Yeah,
The reward,
it worked out.
The reward was worth the risk. We could leave at any moment. They could not.
Recklessness can also get people killed.
So can just living life. Walking down the street can get people killed, as you yourself found out, but most recently.
Yes, absolutely.
You can be as safe as you want. You can live in a bubble.
Calculated recklessness runs in your family, son. Be careful with it, because your curse doesn't just apply to you, from my understanding. It goes on to somebody else after you.
Be that as it may. I can only live my life.
You can only live your
life. And we
life.
can only live the lives that we have. Giving in to fear.
Giving into fear, yeah, but playing games with other people's lives because you have something that you want to do, Fine.
You had the option to leave. I gave everyone the option to
With
leave.
Liren in the books?
With Liren in the books.
No, you did not give that option. You were keeping the books, and you said so yourself.
I was keeping the box.
With?
Yes, the books were in it, but if you needed to leave, as I mentioned, you could take Liren, you could take what you needed. The one book on the pedestal was staying because I needed that to keep the doors open. But I was not going to be a coward and leave those at the risk of my own life. If you wanted to leave, leave. If you want to let those suffer what you yourself and others have suffered, be a coward, walk away.
Be a coward. I'll tell you what, I will take care of my people and I'll take care of the people I have. But if you want to play games with other people's lives, how about next time you go ahead and leave me and my family out of it?
We can leave. You can leave anytime you wish.
Though, you do not know your father.
No.
Your father's goal was to break this deal so that you do not have to bear what he referred to as a curse. But it is yours now. You haven't had it long. But he spent his entire time that he was with us, and years before that, finding a way to break it and trying not to die so you don't have to have it. If you die, someone else gets your curse.
See, everyone keeps using this word curse. As far as I, and as you mentioned, I haven't had it long. But as far as I can tell, there has not been any curse, any repercussions.
The curse is, no, granted, due to your attachment to Saeed, your soul is in question. The curse that your father referred to as his soul was not his own.
And I'll tell you this.
He did not, you were able to give yourself over to Saeed. You had the option to not, but you did, yes?
Correct.
Your father never had the option to not. That deal was made for him, as if he were a slave. The option was stripped from him, and he was forced into a sense of servitude for the traveler.
And the spirit inside of you is the one who made the pact.
But you had
that
communications
shifts.
with Tom.
Feelings, emotions, some vague memories, but that's about it.
That is the entity that made the deal that bound your father. Your father is now
And you.
in servitude to an entity that he tried to escape for eternity. You may not have known the man, but you understand what it's like to be bound against your will. He may be happy with his current situation, but it was not his choice. Do not
Agreed.
put that on someone else carelessly. And yes, you say we can leave, and I understand that we can leave, but it is not in our nature to leave behind those who we travel with and who we care about. We care about Leon, and we care about you. What we ask, or at least what I ask of you, is going forward to execute more caution. We know you are wise. We've seen your wisdom. We ask that in times of stress that you use it and you proceed with caution. There was in one of those demi-planes an ancient black dragon.
Correct.
Now, you made the assumption that all the other humanoids that we saw were prisoners. What if one of them wasn't?
Well, I also made the declaration that we check before we bring any prisoner out. That we check the situation, and if they were not a prisoner, or if they were in any way not in duress or of their own will being there, whatever, that we leave them. We were only there to rescue those who were captive.
Black dragons. I'm not sure the knowledge you own of dragons. Black
I know
dragons
they
are
can.
cruel. And they can be treacherous. And
That
an
checks out.
ally of theirs perhaps could have come across in a deceitful manner only to destroy the opponents of its friend, the black dragon.
And how do you think They had their dialogues and their interactions. There has to be a way for them to get in and out. Where a prisoner might not be able to leave, but someone maybe like an ancient black dragon, similar to what you describe, the sorceress in the tower. There's magical components and properties that might have actually allowed that black dragon out. We don't know. It might have not been a prisoner. It might have been in there for a purpose. And the longer time we take there, the more danger we put ourselves in again.
I agree that we got lucky this time. What I would ask going forward is we execute caution. And I understand your stance on it, but it is important that you not make assumptions about others. I feel that at least at this point, everyone here in this table is not necessarily here. We have had things happen in our lives that were not our choice. And these things have shaped who we are and why we are here. I know me, for one, I never chose to be the arbiter and I never wanted it, but it is where I am. Okay, George did not choose necessarily his path. He did not choose to have his sister taken, but it is the path he's on. Doran, I honestly cannot speak for you. I'm not sure your choice in the matter, but I would imagine that this life you lead now was not one that you would choose for yourself if you could look back on everything and do it all again. Perhaps you might. I honestly don't know.
I mean, the blacksmithing part I like. There's other things that I could definitely change.
I know Howard would not choose to have the sordid past that he does, and I know that you would not choose the enslavement and bondage that you endured. We all have things that we would not choose to happen to us, but has happened, and as such, we are who we are at this moment. You are wise. Do not make assumptions of others. Only look at where you're at now and speak from that point.
And while that's true, and living in the moment is important, and there is also experience in that wisdom. That experience of having those freedoms stripped. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you had to do all over again and had the power to change the past and the history, the destruction of your people, your family, the enslavement by whatever creature that was, would you not change that?
I try not to go back and say what I can and can't change. I wasted years doing that.
Regardless, the answer to the question
What I
is
would
most
say
likely
is
yes, right?
I wouldn't play games with the lives of the people I care about, and I wouldn't be arrogant enough to do so and call them cowards in the process for wanting to care for those who they're with. I
That's
understand
not
that.
answering the question. You're talking around it. The
I
question
can't go back and change it, and I can't make wishes to make things change.
Well,
It's not the natural order. I can't do it. So your question is irrelevant because it doesn't matter, because you can't go back and you can't change it. You can only move forward from it.
That is all well and good. The question that I'm asking is, if you knew back then the outcome of everything that was going to happen, would you not have taken your family, your clan, and run? Move them away from wherever they were. You would have changed the outcome if you could have. We had the opportunity to change the outcome for a few unfortunates who are in the same situation we had lived through time and again. Now, I understand what you're saying.
If that had gone sideways on us, would you not have taken the moment to leave and find a way to come back if a black dragon had come in first? Would this not be an entirely different conversation? Because
nothing would
you're not answer my question.
I am. Nothing would have changed. We would have done the exact same thing. We would have closed the book, regardless of who we had rescued at that point. We would have closed the book. We would have put it in a box. We would have put you in the oil, and we would have teleported away. We did not hear the first. We did not know Solstice was back until after we'd rescued everyone.
Once again, that's just it. We didn't know. There's so much we didn't know. And you're someone who comes in and says they're prisoners, while I watch you walk through a crowd of men and murder them in their sleep, people that we don't know if they were actually slave traders or not. You doomed them to a fight without actually knowing. You can't talk to me about all the entirety of knowing and not assuming onto situations. You totally assumed in that situation too, my friend. You make the assumptions based on what you want, and you're reckless with some of the decisions that you make. You got to be careful. I'm not saying you were wrong in wanting to rescue them. I get it. I understand it. Man, I'm with you on that. But there's so much that we don't know, and to make assumptive actions based on what we don't know that cost people their lives and put other lives at risk in the process, that's what I'm wrestling with, and that's what I struggle with.
But isn't that what we do every day?
With people's lives, murdering them where they sleep, potentially putting your friends in harm's way, trying to get them killed. We assumed the risk going in to get Lear in. I understand getting the other prisoners out was a great byproduct. I'm not mad at you for that. I'm happy that we did it. That's a good thing. But I want to know, is my life just a pawn in your hand whenever you feel like you need this idea to be noble and courageous on one side and then go murder a whole bunch of people while they sleep on the other side? Or are you going to do that with Sullyx? Or are you going to do that with Dor and Ocasitron? I'm not okay with that.
I would say that my risks are calculated. I look at a situation with, albeit maybe not the years of experience of another, but with the experiences that I have. I look at the risks, I look at the potential rewards, and I make decisions regarding that. There are personal influences in that, but that's true of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that we are not arbitrarily making decisions based on our own experiences is what we do. We're about to go into the lair of the beholder and possibly fight it to the death in the hopes of freeing a people who we assume are slaves.
There's a lot of things in that statement that I think we have yet to work out. We're going
that seems to be the preparations that we're all making.
I thought we were going into a tunnel to find a book and to see what happens and what we find out along the way. Are you going in really ready to just go kill a beholder? I want to know, is that your aim throughout this?
The aim is to, as you said, to go rescue the book, to free it from the beholder, because that honestly is more important than anything else. With that book, that beholder could do unspeakable things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we were also asked, and it seemed, at least in my opinion, that everyone had agreed that we were going to do our best to free the people under the beholder. But we're assuming that they're not there of their own free will, or debts they incurred,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those things. Now, yes, we are saying that we agreed that we would take the situation as it comes.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, we're making our own assumptions, and in the moment, we will make the decision based on our experiences and our knowledge.
I think the biggest key here is, well, none of us are upset with the fact that we were able to save all those people. I think the biggest key here is that if everyone is saying we should not do something, your party, your friends, we will not leave you. We ask that you listen to our wisdom. If we say we need to leave, it is dangerous, but you come with us. We understand your standpoint, and we understand where you come from, but we cannot leave you, and there are some situations that are not survivable.
I would agree with that. That you're right. There are situations that are not survivable. There are situations where the risk is not worth the possible reward. If
the ancient black dragon had come through the book, killed us all there, and Lyran died, and the Sanctum had no partner, that was worth the risk.
If that had been a calculated possibility, then you're right, that would not have been worth the risk. But the knowledge that we saw at the time and the workings of the device used to keep the doors open, that did not seem even a remote possibility.
Well,
The-
not to you, but it did to me.
I understand, but from what Kesator was telling me, the doors could only be opened from the outside, that we could tell. So correct, but we can only operate on the knowledge we have. If we always assume the worst case scenario, we'll never get anything done.
No, I disagree with that. We would get stuff done. It just might not be everything that you want done in the time that you want it done. We were getting stuff done.
I would say that there's room for a compromise in that. You're right. We would not get everything done. There has to be risks that are worth the reward. There are rewards that are worth the risk. There has to be chances. And as much as you want me to trust your wisdom and your experience, there has to be the knowledge that it has to go both ways. And understanding that I do care about this team. This is the longest I've been with any team.
That concerns me.
Well, when you're sent out as often as I am,
I understand.
it's what you do.
This is the longest that you've been with any team.
And so far, I haven't lost.
No. There's a lot of strength in your being, Val. You get that in your blood from your folks. There's a lot of recklessness in your being too. I want to see the strength tempered out, and I want the recklessness also to be tempered down, to be measured. There's a lot about who you are and the blood that you have in you and the line that you have. You know, we try not to split the party in person, but also in mindset. And I don't want to see that happen again, because it did before. And I don't want to lose you the way we lost your father. All right?
And while that is much appreciated, as I said, this goes both ways. I don't want to lose any of you either, and I'm not going to take risks that I do not believe are survivable, that I do not believe that we can get out with everyone. I believe, and I will do my best to always take a measure of the risk, to put the needs of the party ahead of the needs of the few, or even the needs of the many in some cases.
The needs of your own concern and your own emotional gratification, in the same way that we all have to at times.
And there will be times that, you're right, that will be necessary, and has been necessary on more than one occasion. But this is what it means to be a team. This is what it means to be a party. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, has anyone here told you how your father died?
Pretty sure we did.
I was gonna say,
I
like,
know-
I
I
feel
know
like we did.
We
but
told you that he died
we
in what killed him, but the details of how he died, has any of us told you?
Does anybody know?
We know
He's
that
gonna run by himself.
Exactly.
Dark vision, yo.
The details of how he died was
Yeah.
the details of how he died was he took a calculated risk.
A reckless one.
He jumped off into a dark room by himself while we were fighting a vampire, an entity who
That would
thrives
be a
in the dark.
reckless risk.
He went off alone in an attempt to do who knows what.
Calculated risk. Save the party. Fight the vampire. Be the hero. I don't know. I just
And
know
he
that I'm missing.
encountered a vampire by himself and did not survive
Yeah, that would
because
not
he
be good.
left the party. We were all in a room that was lit up by a daylight spell, a bane for a vampire, and he went into a dark room alone.
That would not have ended well for him.
His
No, it
actions
did
put
not.
himself at risk. It put you at risk. It put us at risk.
And it was a calculated risk on his part. But I would ask you learn from that. He left the party to take a calculated risk, and it failed. Think on that for a while. And I do believe some of our members are still very tired. We should head back. We should get some sleep. And then perhaps tomorrow we can actually have a full discussion, because he does bring up a good point. While the contract for the beholder is open to us, we have yet to fully decide if we want to pursue it. We have stated that if it comes up and he attacks us and all the good things, we will defend ourselves, and we've come up with a very complicated and yet possible plan to blind him to increase our survivability. But we have yet to decide if we will go out of our way to hunt him down. If we walked in and the book is right there, we would go out of our way to destroy him. So I would ask that tonight, as we all go back and get some sleep, that we think on that, and then tomorrow we will have dinner again before we set off, and we will have a discussion about whether we believe it best that we go out of our way to hunt down this beholder, not for any funds or anything that we might get, but because of the potential evil that he carries. Or we get the book and leave.
Fair enough.
Val, I just want to let you know, I care about you. I care about your father. I care about the people here.
Hug it out, boys. Hug it out.
I'll punch him in the face.
Everyone shows affection differently.
As Slice's tail is like slapping.
I don't know.
He likes to get punched in the face for me. But
You wouldn't know, Doran.
I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose my friends. They're the only ones I've got left. I don't want to lose Liren. Those are some pretty high risks that you took in my eyes, and I know you see it differently. You're wrong, but that's okay. You're still young. I've got about a whole bunch of hundreds of years on you. No,
That is a good question. How
old is Halbert?
since you bring it up, how old are you?
minimum of 4 score older than him.
So you're like real old.
I'm middle-aged.
You're like real old.
So actually, with my background with elves, would I know what middle age was?
Probably, yeah. You'd have a pretty good idea.
wow, I
You're gonna
forgot
guess
what we're-
around like 400.
Yeah, I was gonna say
430,
450, somewhere in there.
something like that.
Actually, this brings up a valid point. Doran, what's the lifespan of dwarves? I don't know this either.
That's a really good point.
300, I believe.
And
Something
how
like
old are
that.
you?
121.
Jeez.
21.
I'm suddenly realizing how young I am.
I know.
I feel you on that
Why
one.
do you think I'm calling it a lad all the time?
That's fair. You do call. Yes, you do.
Fair enough. How old
They
are you?
deserve it too.
Just out of curiosity, how old are you, Sylvia?
I am on my 22nd year.
And how old are you?
I suddenly feel as the baby of the group.
What are you at?
I'm on my 20th summer.
Sorry, I was taking a drink of water.
How
I'm
is
gonna
it?
reach for my glass.
But well, I know for my kind, we live about the same as a human does. There around. What's the lifespan for a cow star?
I don't know.
A lot shorter if you make reckless, uncalculated decisions.
That's true for anyone.
I was gonna say.
But thus far, that's the only one that's done that.
That's easy.
Yeah. Hang on.
Well, there wasn't one time with our deer, but that was because of the place. It was a little crazy.
Yeah, I still think there was something mentally going on there.
Yeah, she was the place was not her dying actually saved her a little bit, which is weird.
Well, no, she got smarter after that.
Yeah,
So
less reckless.
yeah, she was the short little.
She was the halfling girl who hated you.
She didn't like you.
Hey,
Okay, that's just because I came in on the horse that she abandoned,
You took her horse.
and I still have a
You
horse.
took her horse.
Her horse
Where
is-
is her horse?
Well, actually, yeah, I don't think I have a horse.
It's back at the town that we left.
Yeah, her horse is
in the
definitely
stable.
gone.
along
How's
with a
that
guy
stable?
No, it's great. I
Did
can
you-
just resummon my horse.
Am I gonna just carry my beer?
Jay, Kalistar are they age at human standard.
Okay.
About the same lifespan, same
About
age,
the
right?
same as humans.
So we're about the same. So we'll definitely die long before any of them do. There's a case
Zoran,
George just old because
You
of
want to go to
magic.
a few funerals with me when they get old enough?
That's depressing, son.
We can console ourselves with a
Well,
drink.
hopefully those will be a very long time from now, and not within the next few days.
No.
That would
I'm
be
counting on at least close to a century with you.
No, I don't live that long.
I'll figure out.
We're all going to live forever, lads. It'll be great.
That's a joke.
Yeah, 2 death saves for me.
On that note, this child needs a few more hours of sleep.
You're not, young one. Don't forget to say your prayers.
I'm
Right.
gonna go back to my
To your
room and
original deity.
check with check in on Rissa, and
Yeah.
then plop back. in
Rissa
my-
has been sleeping peacefully this entire time.
Okay, I'm gonna plop back on my cot and pass
I'm
out for
actually,
another
I
4 hours.
too am going to go find a. I know we got rooms at another tavern somewhere or something, so I'm going to go to my room
I'm gonna go with him.
and I will.
Yo,
Coming with Doran.
yeah.
Yep,
All right.
Doran and myself are roomies. I sleep naked, by the way, Halberd.
I'm just curious.
Sorry, what just
Are you a
happened?
big dragon with a little dragon?
What happened?
And on that note, that's what we'll go ahead and we'll leave session for tonight.
2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. We've got a thing to do in the morning.
You?
Yes. I've been waiting for this long rest to do this one thing.
What?
Don't give him the saddest. No.
Yeah, give it a
Actually,
satisfaction.
Lord, I would like to, as I go to
All
bed,
right.
as I go to bed, I actually would like to spend a little time and do some quiet meditation.
You know, I was gonna look at the stone and try to make some more stone.
Something I haven't done for a little while, so I would actually like to set up
It's been a bit.
my shrine and do a little praying and say, well, I know it's been a little while. Things have been busy, but there is something that I wish to ask of you. I'm curious about a great many things, and the things that which I have been told for the entirety of my time growing up, I wonder about their accuracy. And I question them, and I'm curious about them. People lie, and I've learned this. And I've learned that the actions of others are not always good. I know on this world, the destruction of many monstrous races and chromatic individuals, dragons and others, was an act done by the church for the good of the people. But I have learned that not all who appear bad are actually evil. And I wonder, was it you who set forth this plan to destroy those who might be good, but appeared as evil? Or was it the actions of those within your church who took it upon themselves to act in your name without actually having your blessing? This is my conundrum that I sit with. And if you don't answer, perhaps I will find my answer when I return to Dragenthrone and seek information from the source.
Mic drop.
And that will be my little thing.
That's a good question.
And I'll sit there for a little bit, and then I will.
Whose turn is next?
As you are meditating and praying, undergoing this ritual for the night, go ahead and make me a religion check.
Please not 20 this.
please.
Natural 20.
That's a modified 20.
Ew.
I'll take it.
Okay. You say this out loud. You're expressing your thoughts in your meditations, and you get a sense, almost a memory coming to mind of one of your earliest classes. One of your instructors explaining the tenets of following Bahamut. How although Bahamut was powerful and dangerous and very capable of great destructive acts, he was more known for his compassion than anything else. And as you're thinking in this and then calling this memory to mind, you're almost back in that classroom, in that moment where you're hearing this and learning about the compassion of your deity. You feel the desk under your hands, and you remember you probably weren't paying nearly that much attention when you were actually doing this. You probably weren't listening this closely, but in this moment, in this memory, you're just enraptured. Your attention is entirely focused on the instructor at the front. And for a very brief moment, his eyes meet with yours and flash a brilliant gold. And then you blink and you're back in front of your shrine, where the incense that you had lit is now out, where it's cold and dark, and you're by yourself as everybody else has taken their rest. And you don't know how much time has passed, but you were in that moment. You were feeling that memory so strongly. And that's what you're left with.
Okay.
That was magical.
Then yeah, I'm going to go to bed now.
All right.
Can I work on my orb some more?
One more time. Good deal. Roll a dexterity check.
It's gonna be a 12.
12. Still playing with it. The new configuration is a little confusing. It has altered some things. It is still warm in your hand, which is odd because it's metal and it should be cool. But no, there's a definite heat that it's producing.
Sitting underneath and blowing.
Doran, anything you're doing before you bed?
I wanted to study the magic rock that I bought and also try to make one of the stones out of one of the gems I got.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Make a check with your runesmith tools for me.
Do I get proficiency with that? What am I getting out of that?
Yes, we'll give you proficiency with it. So it'll be roll a d20, add your proficiency, add your intelligence.
Okay. 10, 14, 18.
18. You have identified that the runestone that you picked up is a chaos runestone. As you're messing with it, the hair on the back of your neck starts standing up. You get goosebumps up and down your arms. You get the sense that as you absorb the knowledge of this runestone, you feel the unbridled potential that this could cause. And in a more mechanical way, when you score a critical hit on an attack with this with a weapon that has this runestone on it, you roll on the Wild Magic Surge table to create a magical effect.
So I don't know what the wild magic table is, but that sounds fascinating.
We also have
wish-
Wild
mushrooms.
magic mushrooms.
We also have mushrooms that can do something similar.
I wish you were a champion.
Oh, right. It just has random crazy effects.
18s.
The bright green glow surrounding this gem
course.
starts to fade a little bit as you absorb this knowledge, and you're overcome with a strange scent of mint in the air as you as you absorb it.
He's everywhere.
Yes.
He's everywhere.
Doran's gonna
Sorry.
become a follower of the Traveler.
Don't do it. Don't succumb.
Is
Secretly
that what
inscribe
just
this on
happened?
Halberd's new bow.
Yes.
Hey, I was gonna say Halbert's gonna like this.
Oh, that's amazing.
Halberd, I got something that will make your bow way better. Trust me.
Do I trust him?
He has lots of cool runes. You don't know which one it does.
No, but that's not what I asked. I asked, do I trust him?
So I've got crazy materia. What about cranking out one of those the alchemy materia? I keep calling them
Make sure
materia. Runestone.
Make sure you actually take time to sleep tonight.
No, yeah. Well, this only
Yeah, it
counts.
took you about an hour, right?
Oh,
It took
nice.
you about an hour to sit down and
This is good.
identify the chaos
The-
runestone. It'll take you
Yeah.
about 2 hours to craft one of the runestones. Is that what you want to go ahead and do?
I mean, what is it, like 10 midnight? What time are we looking at?
At this point, it's probably about 11 or so.
I can crank out one or fail trying.
Go for it. Go ahead and
Or
you are going to roll. Where's my thing here?
oh, nice. I will roll you.
Yeah. Roll d20, add your proficiency bonus and your either dexterity or intelligence, your choice.
Okay. Ooh, that's not as good. But I get a 14.
14. Which one were you making? The alchemy or the chaos?
Alchemy.
Okay,
'Cause-
awesome. That is enough. The alchemy is fairly simple. The runes themselves are thick and broad and easy to carve. There's not a lot of intricate detail on them. You do manage to successfully make a runestone.
So proud of you, Doran.
Mhm.
We're getting
So
good stuff
does
now.
that mean the chaos runestone that I had, is that one just like poof gone because I learned it?
Yeah. Once you
Oh.
take one and you
Well, I can make
you
one.
can yeah, basically you're destroying it to get the knowledge of how to make more of them.
Gotcha. Okay, well I got one alchemy stone, so that's good. I need to make a list
Yep.
of like this stuff. Okay, well that's good enough for me.
Alright.
And I just like, Morden is good. Thank you for the stone. Yay for me.
Good deal. So you finish that up at about 1 a.m.
Doran finally does.
You're going to want to go to bed quickly if you want to get a full night's rest in,
Well,
and you'll
we're
still
spending the
be
entire
waking up
next
probably
day
a little
here.
bit later than everybody else.
Yeah, we're spending the whole day. so-
Okay.
Yeah, and realizing that, I'll probably save what I was gonna do until the evening, so we can save that for next session.
All right. Then if nobody else has anything else they want to do,
I have 5 more things I want to do. It'll be quick.
save those 5 for the beginning of next session then.
Boots.
Woo!
Good stuff, guys.
All right. So that's where we'll go ahead and we'll stop for tonight. Yay. That was fun.
Yay.
Off.
Woo!
All right.
We did it. We adventured.
Yeah.
We shot.
So thank y'all, audience, for joining us today. Thanks for coming along on this leg of the adventure with us. We had fun. To tune back in next week to continue the adventures, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.